No, she said we don't worry about it. Right, thank
Are we
you.
good, Jared? Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Natasha.
She probably big.
Okay, we're going to open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Jared.
Commissioner Lee, Commissioner Velarde,
Yep.
Vice Chair Long, President Gannett,
Here.
Commissioner Kepler.
Here.
All in attendance? Here.
We had an executive session held on Friday, 13th to discuss personnel and also just previously to this meeting for personnel. Before we move on to public comment, I need to make a motion to amend the agenda to add an action item under new business entitled Ratification of Engagement of Private Investigator and Authorization of Payment. The purpose of this amendment is to ensure that formal authorization and expenditure of public funds are approved in the public session. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Limited because it's a personnel matter.
Do we need to do this tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
The engagement letter is for $250 an hour.
Were we copied on the engagement letter? Because obviously it's email.
Probably not, but I have it right here if you'd like to look at it.
I'd like an opportunity to read through the letter before we vote on it.
Estimate on the time frame, or are we just approving a per hour contract?
That's generally what you do for professional services.
Per hour contract, and there have already been interviews conducted.
You just making the motion to amend the agenda?
Yeah.
Make the motion later to approve it or?
Correct. Yeah, there'll be time to pass that around and read it. Yeah. Just a motion to amend the agenda. Is there any public comment? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I didn't really hear any ayes, so roll call vote, Jared?
Commissioner Lee, Commissioner Velarde,
Aye.
Vice Chair Long,
No.
President Gannett,
Yes.
Commissioner Kepler.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Our public comment policy has changed a bit. For public comment at the beginning of a meeting, you'll be permitted 3 minutes on the agenda for agenda items or non-agenda items. On action items during the meeting, only Pocono Township residents, stakeholders, and local businesses may speak at the podium and be permitted 1 minute for your comments on that agenda item. Is there any public comment? Cheryl.
Cheryl Parks. I've been a resident for 39 years. They blasted again today, and I sent pictures to a few of you, and all the ice came off my roof. Luckily, I'm not dead. Maybe not so lucky for you guys, but Um, it ripped my whole deck off the house. All the boards popped. The deck is now 9 inches lower. A lot of the joists just flipped. All the boards, like half of the boards are up. It's at that kind of a slope now. And it was about 10 minutes after they blasted. Now I know it's thawed out, but still don't know what the condition of my roof is till somebody can get up there. I have never had this problem ever. Again, I still can't hear the warning blasts, but the one thing they said that there's the township hasn't been given the name of the safety monitoring company. They've had 7 blasts. So is that like the Fox Watch in the hen house? There's no safety monitoring company. I mean, I have like no recourse here at all. I was told I had visit from township engineer and Mr. Brigham and Jared and some other man. And again, next time, guys, just call me before you come so you make sure I'm home. But I was told, this guy Heath from DEP was going to call me. That hasn't happened. I was given a number that doesn't work to call and make a report. There was another number I called that just goes to voicemail. There's nothing I can do. I went to Maureen Madden's office. She was supposed to call me. That hasn't happened. And so now my whole deck is destroyed. I don't know if my roof has an issue. Like I said, I never had any of these problems. We've had big storms before. And the blasting, my whole house shakes. It goes from the foundation and comes just all the way up the house. So just the fact that there's no safety monitoring company, I just don't, after 7 blasts, now we've got 3 more coming. And if they're done then, they were supposed to be done last week. And then they added another month of 2 blasts per week to it. I just, oh, and we didn't get our water test results. We were supposed to get those. That hasn't happened. And I mean, I feel like I've just been gaslit for the last 2 years. It was the same thing with the kennel. Oh, yeah, well, they have to follow the zoning ordinances. And the dogs are out. I have to go to the magistrate's office like 7 times and nothing happens. I mean, they had to pay some fines for it, but nobody enforces the zoning ordinance for that. And it's just the last 2 years, I have just felt like I've been under siege. So, all right, my 3 minutes up. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything we could do about that? I mean, if her deck has removed itself from the house, I mean, we don't know what it's from, but
We don't know what it's from.
But
And
shouldn't it be looked at? I mean, what
we
is
can,
that?
we can look at it, but I believe what she's telling us. I'm not sure what else we will learn from looking at it. I was sure that when I spoke to the representative from DEP, he certainly sounded to me like he was sincere in going to give them a call if I provided the phone number, which I did. I also provided Cheryl his number. She says it only went to voicemail, which is, I understand it. Going to mine went to voicemail the first time too, but he called me back within an hour. I can call him again and say, hey, why haven't we heard from you? This is serious. I don't mind doing that.
If you would, yes, thank you.
Well, so Jared, another resident reached out about the blasting. I spoke to you about this. They said, they were told they would barely feel it. Their whole house is shaking. You mentioned the seismographs and how they would have to reach out personally to request that. And you sent me the information, which I forwarded to them. And I believe her husband did call DEP. I don't know if they heard anything, but I think we could share that with Cheryl and anybody else, and if they want to contact them as well, because I mean, there's no way for us to verify that everything's in the normal range. Because did we ask for the seismographs and they said no, or they basically said the state would have to ask them?
Correct. They did confirm with us at the site visit that they brought extra seismographs in because there are residents on both sides of the property. They said that they showed us video of the seismographs and they showed us them blasting with the air horn, but they would not turn over the records. They said that's through the state. So the information that I had shared with you, I had also shared with Cheryl and Karen and Rebecca.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure she gets that. She's talking to her.
All we have is just the superintendent and Mara and Scott, which is the blasting company. They're the ones who are submitting the records.
Yeah, so do you safety at all?
I mean, I don't know if it's a separate company or if it's a safety department through Mara and Scott, the blasting company. But they did confirm, Pat, John, you were there, that they did bring extra seismographs out.
Is anyone going to the site? Like the entry?
We're going to look into that. We'll get back to that.
You guys were out there.
I think Matt had it
Yeah.
on his agenda to talk.
We were out there, and the conservation district is also doing bi-weekly inspections on the property. Yeah, Drew with the conservation district is out there.
Any other public comment?
I have a question. So Cheryl sent me the photos of like all the dirt and the stains. There's no way that they can come out and take a sample and make sure that that's not hazardous, whatever that's blasting on her house. I mean, did you guys see the pictures of yeah, like there's no way for them to come out. I mean, I'm going to call them tomorrow and say it's my office. They'll call back. But I'm just saying, isn't there a way to test what's on her house to make sure it's...
Well, I think she had a representative from her insurance company there and he couldn't tell what it was. I mean, I think he believes, and I would believe as well, it's staining from something with inside the house. It's not a result. The color isn't a result of the blasting. It's something that's bleeding into the water and then freezing into those big icicles.
Something bleeding into the water?
Into the rain, the water that's falling on the roof that's forming the ice. It's something from the inside, possibly insulation, possibly it's fiberboard that the color is coming off of. I'm not sure what, but that's what I would believe it is.
Okay, well, I'll follow up on my end because that sounds pretty scary for a homeowner.
Thank you, Matt.
Of course.
We had a big big clouded up. I sent those pictures too. So we had all over the place. I don't, is that hazardous? Because it was a big huge cloud right after the glass they came through. I couldn't hardly, it was like a big bank of fog, but it wasn't. It was some kind of grit or sand or whatever. So is that hazardous? I don't know.
I don't know. Any other public comment?
Yes, online, Maria DeAngelis. I have a question. The blasting that you're referring to, is this taking place at the solar farm on Back Mountain Road?
No, it's at Core 5 on Warner Road.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment online?
Josh now. I just wanted to let the board know that I have neighbors along Wellington Road and Staden Road, and they're all saying that they do feel the blasting. So it may be worthwhile for you guys to investigate and do your best for the township. Thank you.
Thank you. And any other comments, Jared? Public comment? No. We'll move on with presentations. We have Mike Stetler.
If I could just
Sure,
introduce Mike. Thanks for coming down. Following last board meeting, 2 weeks ago, regarding the question about garbage pickup, I had a conversation with Mike, and he thought it would be a good idea for him to come down, introduce himself to the commissioners, to the public, explain some of the services they provide, and then also answer to the idea of having garbage pickup. So
I hadn't proposed garbage pickup. I wanted to get a dumpster put somewhere in town, but yeah,
that's
just to be clear.
Yeah, that's what we discussed.
Yeah,
actually.
okay.
So without further ado,
But prior to that, we do have a resident who wasn't sure about how the public comment works, Madam President, if you want to allow him the opportunity to speak.
Sure. Come on up.
Good evening, Peter Sandals, local resident for 25 years. Just recently, Camelback has been having a traffic pattern issue getting up to the mountain. Emergency vehicles can't get up the mountain. Last week, it took me an hour and a half to get to my home in Mountain View Village, which is between Gravitz and Ridge Drive. Usually takes me less than 2 minutes. The reason I'm here tonight is to find out if the board knows any reason what changed this pattern for the last, I've been up in Mountain View Village for the last 8 years now. And for something has changed up at the mountain as far as Camelback, whether the new ownership changed the parking patterns or something else is going on there as far as paying for parking, and whether it's cash or non-cash or whatever. I bring this up because, again, the emergency vehicles could not get up to the mountain a couple of weeks ago. This past weekend, sometimes it does happen, but there was a helicopter that had to land, and because they couldn't get up the mountain. I would like to know if it's possible to find a way that when they have an over occupancy at the crossings, the local township has the police department diverting, saying that the crossings is closed or it's to capacity. If something we can look into to find out what's going on with the Camelback situation. And also, is it possible to find another way to egress off that mountain so this way we can get a little more stabilization? I feel like I'm held, and my community, as one of the members on the board there, are held pretty much hostage. God forbid a house fire, God forbid an emergency, that they won't be able to get into the community fast enough. I had this also last summer. This particular item, one of the trees fell, and it was on the wire, and it fell, and it cut our community off. We could not get out of the community. That was between Ridge and Gravitz. We were held in the community for all afternoon before they finally got an emergency crew to get it there. That tangenting that in is that particular area is a high traffic area now with Camelback. We need to do something in that area. There are trees right now that are tagged on the wires, looking to fall and take down the wires. My thing is to be a little more be proactive than reactive. God forbid we get held in our community again. If any of you can either give me some information, or if I do some homework on it, or if I can be of any part, help to see what we can do, I would gladly volunteer my services. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but we had 3 officers there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Camelback Road and Sullivan Trail, to do what we could to keep traffic flowing, moving.
Do you know what the issue was in the past with the backup and why? Or
So I'm not sure why there was an excessive amount of traffic this weekend, but
It was a holiday weekend.
well, that's true. Yeah.
In the past, it's been holidays and it's been flowing, but I don't know what they did as far as, there's no attendants up there telling people where to park. But I've been there in that community for 8 years, and it's never Martin Luther King weekend. This weekend was little traffic. Martin Luther King weekend was totally unacceptable. And it took us, like I said, over an hour and a half to get home, which I understand where you live and it comes with the territory, but they changed something up there. You know, unlike I was already at the township parade about fireworks all of a sudden without a permit, and other stuff going on, something with the management. I would gladly go up there and have a meeting with management on my next step to see what they can do to help us down in the community, because we are feeling a little helpless and feeling hostage down there.
So to that end, I believe on the first weekend that was referenced, there was a snowstorm as well. And we know that there was a log jam of traffic because the snow was coming down pretty hard. The state wasn't able to keep the road plowed open, and it seemed like a lot of people just chose to park along the road, which further created an issue because the plows couldn't get through and open it up. My understanding is that in the past, Camelback had, and I can't confirm this, but Camelback had plows that would actually help the state keep the road open until the state trucks get there. The state's priority obviously is Route 80, 611, the larger roads. So unfortunately, Camelback Road is a lower priority. So I don't know if maybe Camelback would be willing to reconsider that. I don't know if the newer ownership there is aware that they used to have a means to keep the road open to prevent the parking. And then also, if that road were posted, and it's a state road, so it's not something that the township can do, but if the road were posted with no parking signs, that would at least prevent people from parking along the road, creating that logjam. I can't speak to this past weekend, but I know the weekend of the big snow, that all contributed to, my plow guy it took him an hour and a half to get up to Wilkie Road to plow Wilkie Road. So there was a problem.
Hey, Jared, is Camelback's TIF still in effect?
Yes.
And that was to improve the infrastructure around the resort, wasn't it? So that we weren't having traffic issues up there. Isn't that what the TIF was for?
That was
finance infrastructure.
That was for the building of Aquatopia.
Oh, it was just for the building. It wasn't.
I mean, whatever HOP requirements had come with it, that was back when we were still second class.
Okay, so it wasn't for infrastructure improvements then. I thought it was for infrastructure
I mean,
for Aquatopia
before
because of
PennDOT
the
required.
increased, traffic.
I mean, they
we
were
were
required
expecting.
to do a traffic study, and I'm sure PennDOT required certain, road modifications to it, but I don't know what exactly those terms were.
Okay, thank you.
Corporal Engelmeyer, you were part of the assignment, and you have some information maybe?
Good evening. I spoke to some of the guys that were working the detail. They spoke to the parking attendants who actually came down and apologized to them. The parking lots are over full. They're still letting people come in. I've also spoke to employees who said that they're overselling tickets, and there's no room for anybody to come in. I guess this was brought to the management, and they refuse to listen to their employees and just keep selling tickets even though they're over full. There was people in line that basically what our guys ended up having to do was just keep sending them around. They're going through the parking lots, making a circle back around, and not being able to park and just keep going in a circle. Some people were saying that they were 2 hours past their time limit of when they're, I guess the tubing, they only do increments of time. They were past that time. And people that were waiting to go skiing and snowboarding were also an hour or two driving around in a circle. So it is becoming an issue. I was up there on my own, driving through Sullivan Trail, and waited at least a half an hour to get past Camelback Road. And when I got to Gravatt's Way, I also waited there, and there was nowhere to go because Gravatt's Road was backed all the way up. And people were waiting to turn to go down Gravatt's to try and to cut off onto Camelback Road from there. So it is a ongoing issue. We were discussing this morning, like the one gentleman brought up, there isn't really a safe way for emergency services to get down through unless they're going to be going in the oncoming traffic. And if it's busy both ways when amounts of people are getting let out, because like I said, there's time spans that the tubing lets out for the increments. So you're going to be going right down the middle lane, trying to get up there. And there's really no place for anybody to pull off to get you through. So I don't really know what the answer is going to be. But I do know that those things were all brought to us as issues up there.
Thank you. That's very enlightening. Yep. And Leo, obviously you can't over book your stuff, right? Because there's a capacity limit up there.
There should be. I mean, the fire chief should go take a look at it immediately in situations like that, because there are typically capacities that, you're when it becomes unsafe, that's typical. I mean, our room here has a fire capacity. We can't overpack this room. So I would get the fire chief involved, perhaps take a ride up with the chief of police and explain that you can't have this situation.
And should they speak with Camelback, or should we call a meeting with Camelback?
Well, we have a meeting with them Monday.
Yeah, but we have other people in there, so we can't discuss it with other people in there,
Maybe at the end.
possibly.
Yeah, I mean, we can meet with them if we're meeting Monday. Yes.
Can you kind of arrange that, Jared, for them to stay, and maybe it would be a different person. I'm not even sure who would have to be there. But that's very telling. That makes sense that they're overbooked. There's no parking spaces,
Yeah.
and we can't have that because it did impede.
We see the same thing at the crossings on Black Friday.
Ellen,
Just
Jason
nowhere to
from
put
Camelback
anybody.
wants to come up, I think.
Oh.
Say something.
Thank you. My name is Jason. I'm the general manager for Camelback and appreciate having the opportunity to be here. I'd like to maybe just address two things. One is Martin Luther King weekend. You know, absolutely, we had 9 inches of snow over that period, and that had an impact on the state road and on our resort road, which we just really appreciate the local police and their response. And how they were able to help handle that, but that certainly did backlog traffic much more than we would have preferred. Jim, I appreciate you mentioning President's Day weekend. We had the opportunity to partner with Pocono Township Police and for us to help fund traffic control. And it's something we take really seriously. We want to make sure that local residents and our guests are able to get to the resort. It doesn't serve any of us if neither of those things are true. So that's important to us that there's traffic flow. There's been no material change in our how we park cars at Camelback, with the only exception is that we actually don't collect any money now for parking. So there used to be a spot where you had to stop and pay. We only require payment in our preferred lot, which is about 200 spots. Every other spot is free for guests to do. And we actually did that to remove friction from the traffic issues that we were seeing. And we want to park cars as efficiently as possible. We made that move in early December. It was a change for Camelback. So there is free parking on the campus other than the preferred lot. And then last but not least, I just want to share on the oversell. We actually have a limit for the number of snow tubing tickets that we sell at any given point. And we have a limit on the number of Aquatopia day passes that we see. What I don't have a limit on is how many people access that state road. A lot of people come up and we've not sold tickets. And we've posted that our parking lots are at capacity online. We did that both Saturday and Sunday this week, asking people to return or visit us either another day or later on in the day. But what we can't control the number of people that are driving up Camelback Road. I'm all for talking through solutions and definitely open to those conversations. And we're always always ready to have those conversations. I'm here to help in any way that I can, and we want to be part of the solution. It's important to us too that all of our guests and all the residents are able to get through on Camelback Road every day. But I just want to make one thing very clear: we do follow occupancy permits and safety first in Aquatopia, which does have a limit to the number of people that can be in there, and we have a system that tells us how many people are in that park at all times, and we monitor that very, very strictly to make sure that we're never overselling it. Again, what I can't prevent is how many people choose to drive up Camelback Road, whether we say that we're at capacity or we're not. And I just wanted to share that candidly and appreciate the opportunity to be in front of all of you. We want to be good stewards of the community, not just economically, but as good neighbors and good citizens. I appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you.
Okay. You're up, Mike.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Mike Stetler. I'm the executive director of the Monroe County Municipal Waste Management Authority, or we like to call ourselves the Waste Authority, to shorten that up a little bit. We do a lot of things in Monroe County for the residents. If you've ever seen one of our deer trucks picking up dead deer alongside the roads, That's us. We have our own police force. We police littering. We also police illegal dumping. We work with municipalities with blighted properties and things that are inside our purview with the county ordinances. And our big thrust, even though our name is Waste Management Authority, part of Waste Management Authority is recycling. And that's really our big goal in Monroe County, to see what we can take out of the waste stream and recycle, reuse, and repurpose. And, there is a certain amount that needs to go to the landfill as well. So in our 10-year plan that we have that goes to DEP, we have secured 750 tons a day for Monroe County's waste to go to 3 different landfills. And so that we never have a problem with the county's waste coming before maybe out of state and so forth. So that's a couple things right there. We have a lot. We've got some flyers. We work together really well with the municipalities. As a matter of fact, I think it was the 27th or 28th of January, we held our annual meeting with the municipalities here in your beautiful facility. You need to be congratulated. What a great job you've done as a municipality. And it's something to be proud of. It's a really beautiful room. So I was contacted by Jared and Pat about a couple of questions you had about a couple different items. I don't work for DEP, but I work very closely with DEP. I'm the county coordinator for recycling in Monroe County. So I have a good relationship with them. And a lot of the things we do, we have to work with DEP. So I have a lot of answers. If I don't, I'll try to get them quickly for you. Probably one of the neat ideas I heard was from Mr. Kepler. I believe you wanted to find another option for your residents on your facility where they could bring trash in, throw it in a dumpster. And the particulars, I don't really need to know too much about that, except that would be considered a transfer station. Mm-hmm. There's 2 different transfer stations that DEP have. There's a rural transfer station, 300 people per square mile or less. And you can put an application for that. Unfortunately, Pocono Township is at 314 per square mile. So that's not an option. That's the least costly and the least pervasive option. The other is a full transfer station. And that you're talking just the permit cost for that is $4,400. And probably not where you want to go because there's all kinds of clean water restrictions, and you have that stream right behind your property. Yeah. Where you were thinking about that. We may have some options for you to help you out. We're actually working on putting a rural transfer station in very close by. Mm-hmm. That would be open to all of the county residents, including Pocono Townships, right? Hopefully right next door to our recycling facility on Military Road. So we have 2 drop-off sites. We have one at the DCNR location on 611, and we have one at Military Road as well. So hopefully in the future, we'll be able to discuss that with you and maybe come up with a creative solution to make that idea come to fruition.
Absolutely. I mean, I was thinking of having it be a Pocono Township thing, but if the county's working on something, some kind of solution, that's great to hear. I'm really glad. And, it seems like it really should be a county-wide issue to be solved. It doesn't seem like it's just a Pocono Township problem. So that's true. I'm glad to hear that you guys are working on it. And yeah, I hope you will get in touch. I can give you my card. Okay. Before you leave today. I did want to ask, yes. You say that you guys do policing of littering and dumping. How do you guys do that? Just out of curiosity.
We have a police force. We have 4 officers on the road. We have a police chief. We accept complaints online on the wasteauthority.com. So if you see something dumped alongside the road, you can put that out there. You can call us. We dispatch our officers during working hours, and they go out and check that out. Wasn't that long ago, I got a phone call from one of the PennDOT supervisors over in Penn Hills. Somebody had dumped quite a few bags of garbage off there. It just goes on and on and on because a lot of times people don't have a good option to throw their garbage.
Yeah, believe me, I know.
So
So you guys pick it up too when it's found?
you don't
dumped like
necessarily
that,
pick it up
or-
in that case. PennDOT picked it up, but they let
Okay.
us go down through, do an investigation, and then we filed citations for several individuals in that case.
Okay, yeah. So if there's some kind of portal where people can be reporting that, that's great. I'll try to.
Wasteauthority.com.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to get that out there because I know that's a big concern of people in Pocono Township is the littering and dumping situation. If they know they have a place they can go, that's great to know because I didn't know about that. So I'll try to
We try to
communicate
work
that to
closely
the
with
best I can.
with all the municipalities. So sometimes we get information from the municipality, and other times we get it from the residents.
Fabulous. All right,
Yep.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
We deal with their police chief quite often, and
Yeah.
they've been very successful in
Mhm.
financial penalties for the litter bugs.
I do want to mention too, when you were talking about our police, we have one officer is almost dedicated to a program. It's really cool. It's called Pocono 3C, and we partner with Street to Feet, and we're funded by the Visitors Bureau. And we have a crew of homeless people that go out. They're actually trying to transition into housing, so we're working a full gamut on this. And we do a lot of pickup here in Pocono Township. I don't know the number of bags off the top, but I can get you that number. But because it's such a high tourist area and you have a lot of traffic, we do a lot of the 80 ramps. We do a lot of the other roads in Pocono Township, as well as the other townships. So that's a big thing. We pick up a lot of trash in that program.
Do we have a sheriff's labor assistance program in Monroe County? Like, do we have people from the from jail picking up trash, or
they may have that? See, we're an authority, Monroe County Authority. We're not run by the county.
But I think you might know about it.
But I had talked to the commissioners last year about that, and nothing has come to date with that. But we do ARD programs, also with the local magistrates, where people that have community service, they can be requested to do that, and we take them out, and they get their hours fulfilled picking up garbage as well.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I believe Pocono Township is exempt from the leaf recycling, right? The maximum is 500, and we're at 314, and we don't allow burning, so we would be exempt. Is that correct?
Okay, so with your status of Act 101, you're mandated to do this, or at one time you were. I'm not sure the whole history, but we just worked for the past 2 years to get you guys back into compliance with DEP because you were doing leaf pickup. DEP wasn't aware of it, and there was no ordinance on the books for that. Pat and Jared worked with me on that. Technically speaking, Pocono Township could not do leaf pickup, but then you're also foregoing the opportunity to take part in the 904 grants, which you have lost out on probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in recycling grants for not being in compliance. And you also lose out on every other opportunity for a 902 grant, which used to be around $360,000. Now it's down to $200,000. For equipment that you can get with that. It's 90/10.
Explain to me why we're not in compliance.
Because you were not picking up the leaves according to Act 101. That was what I was told.
But we're exempt under the law.
That was a carve out. And this is a history lesson that I don't really know too much. I just know that when I was working with DEP to try to get you guys back into compliance, I was kind of like a go-between.
So if
that was pushed, I believe by actually Representative Rader in Harrisburg, if I'm not mistaken. And
Jack Rader did House Bill 927 or something that
yeah,
pushed up from a 300 square foot or square mile radius to 500. So we are therefore exempt. So we're not out of compliance.
Okay.
We're in compliance.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue the law.
No,
I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for DEP. All I'm saying is,
why?
In their eyes, in the eyes of DEP, according to Act 101, you would be out of compliance because of that.
I wonder, and I don't have the history because this preceded me, but I recall the township entered into a purchase shared purchase agreement with Hamilton Township for a leaf vac. And I don't know if that was one of the causes for Pocono to be deemed out of compliance with the DEP, other than the carve out. So I don't think the carve out was I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think the carve out was the reason the DEP didn't have Pocono in compliance. I think it had something to do with that leaf vac that was a joint purchase between Hamilton and Pocono.
I believe that's correct. I believe the purchase was put in for, you got the equipment and then stopped picking up the leaves because of the carve out. But because you accepted the grant money for a piece of machinery and then didn't, but you guys were, that's the other funny thing about it. Because you do pick up leaves around the township. Then that's the reason why you were out of compliance. So
DEP had reached out to us a little over a year and a half ago, maybe even longer, and had stated that we were out of compliance. And that's what kind of started our meetings up and everything. That was another reason that we just changed our ordinance around as well.
Yeah. I can't stress to you folks enough how important it is, because I guarantee you, I live in Stroud Township and they're aggressive with their leaf collection. I mean, multiple times a year, they hit just about every street that's not in a private community, and people are still burning their leaves. And as I'm a volunteer fireman in Stroud Township, I've got to go out and put out brush fires that are now encroaching on somebody's house. If you have an opportunity to do that, I just, on a perspective of what's better for the air quality and the
We don't
community.
like burning of leaves. Which
Yeah,
is
we don't
another
either in
reason
Stroud
why it's not-
Township, but they do it anyway. But the one thing about the 904 grants, when you're in compliance with DEP, every year you have to do the paperwork. Your township does the paperwork. So every business that's in Pocono Township, most of them recycle because they reduce their waste costs. So I'm probably sure that probably just about everybody in the crossings that gets anything in cardboard boxes bills their cardboard. You would get $5 a ton back as like a rebate for the recycling that went on in your township. Even though you didn't do the recycling yourself, you get credit for that. Some townships is very sizable. Some are a couple $100, the smaller townships. Other townships get 40, 50, $60,000 a year for their 904 grants. So if you're thinking about, is it costs us too much to pick up leaves or not? That's a yearly thing, as well as also the opportunity for the 902 grants for other material, or not material, but equipment that you could buy with that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? We talk about recycling. I could be here all night. So
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Our next presentation is D&D Engineering.
Over here.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Okay, good evening. I'm back from last 2 weeks ago. Okay, so this project is Mountain Edge Village. We kind of discussed open space a little bit, but I'm gonna wait and just go through all the waivers that we had gone in front of the Planning Commission for, since they're probably the simple ones. As I stated before, it's a 65-acre property, And it's just the development of one townhouse unit that was approved in 1987 as part of the original land development subdivision. So this is a townhouse footprint that is being paid taxes on. It's been sitting there, and now they're going to construct it. So with that being said, because of everything expiring from 1987, they had to go back through the land development, and then we had to do stormwater parking and the regulations to meet the current ordinance for that. So for waivers, I don't know if you guys had a list of the waivers in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we went in front of the planning commission for, and I could just go through the sections, summarize it quickly and go on. And if you have any questions, just yell. Does that work? Section 390.29.E3, survey shall not have an area of closure greater than 1 in 10,000 feet and shall include a boundary closure report. Brian Courtwright did do an overall boundary like a year or two before this, but we weren't asking for the whole survey closure report and everything to be done because it's one townhouse unit, it's 300 feet from the property line. So it was previously surveyed, but we were asking for a waiver on that. The next one is section 390.29J. 1C is in regards to truck turning movements for a WB50 truck shall be provided. This is an old development. So we asked for the waiver because it's all older roads that were designed. So we can get emergency access in there, fire trucks in there. We did have to show a turn template for that. So we were asking for a waiver on the WB50 truck turning movements. Section, I'm going to skip the sidewalk one because that wasn't acted by planning. The next one is section 390.49A4, which is in regards to monuments shall be set at all outbound locations of the overall boundary. That's another one we're asking for because we're asking for a waiver on the overall property. And like I said, it's just because our improvement is 300 feet from a property line and it's already an existing footprint that was approved previously. The next one is section 390.50D5, which is in regards to embankment slope, maximum slope of the earthen detention basin. It's actually an earth berm is all it is for stormwater management of the additional parking and for the unit itself. You have a requirement, you have to have a 4-to-1 slope, and we have 3-to-1 side slopes that were designed. Next one is section 390.50D7 is regards to top width. You have a requirement for any detention basin shall have a minimum top width of 10 feet. That's basically for your bigger basins. This is just a berm to control a small amount of stormwater coming from one building and a portion of a parking lot. So if we did that, we would get into so much more earth disturbance just to do that part of it. The next one is section 390.50D8 is in regards to a minimum grade of 2% shall be maintained on the basin bottom. This is an infiltration basin. They require you to make it a 0%. That's a DEP thing. Section 390.50D11C, emergency spillways shall be constructed of reinforced concrete or other material approved by the township engineer. As I stated, this is a small stormwater system. Our spillway doesn't even have a 100-year storm event going over it, but we did do a permanent matting of, it's a SC250, so it's a permanent matting. It's just not concrete. Like I said, no 100-year storm is even going to go over that. No overflow. So the next one is, I'll skip the common open space one. Section 365.8L, roof drains shall not be connected to streets, sanitary, or storm sewers in order to promote overland flow and infiltration of stormwater. I have one roof drain that is connecting to an inlet box that is going into the stormwater system. We have to get it to the stormwater system. The purpose is to infiltrate. That's part of the requirements to meet your stormwater ordinance. And the last one that was in front of planning was the section 365.13B. All calculations should use the appropriate rainfall depth per B1 in the appendix. Now everything is NOAA. That's a DEP requirement. So everything was based off of the NOAA rainfall data. Okay, does anybody have any questions on those?
We will have to vote on these one by one.
Yes.
Do that first, or
Well, we're gonna have to take them one by one, and then the two that you skipped, you're coming back to?
Yeah, planning didn't act on those. They were only supposed to go in front of the board. So I figured it was easier to go through these. I mean, because they did a recommendation for approval. And then I figured I can go through the other two with you.
All the following waivers have been approved from the planning commission and approved by the township engineer.
Right. Yep. Okay, so we need a motion to approve the waiver of SALDO section 390-29E3.
Second.
Any discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Second, a motion to waive SALDO section 390-29J1C for truck turning movements. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Any public comment?
Do you, just a question for the developer. Do you guys have a sign posted saying that tractor trailers aren't allowed in the development?
We had discussed that at planning and we said we would post one. Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to waive SALDO section 390-49A4 monuments at outbound locations. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. A motion to waive SALDO section 390-50D5 maximum slope. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Make a motion to waive section 390-50D5 embankment slope.
Yeah, we just did that. We're on D7.
Was it on here twice? Oh, it was on here twice. Wait a minute.
We're on 6. We did 5.
Yeah, well, it was 4, but 4 and 5 are the same.
I've got a different list.
Okay, a motion to waive section 390-50D7 top width from 10 feet to 5 feet.
I'll second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Make a motion to waive section 390-50D8 minimum grade of 2% to 0%.
I'll second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Make a motion to waive section 390-50D11C emergency spillway.
John, is this necessary? It says or other material approved by the township engineer.
That's a good catch. I'm not even sure the waiver is necessary because I approve of the material.
Okay, so there you go.
So you're saying we don't need a motion?
It says if it's approved by the township engineer, we say in our letter that we support it. We probably should have maybe read it a little bit more carefully and said you don't need it, but
Okay.
yeah, it's a common material to use in a situation like this.
Okay. Then we'll move on. Make a motion to waive section 365-8L roof drains. Any discussion? I had one question on this. It said something like a portion of the roof drain. What portion? Like,
So the we don't
what
have
the-
the second yet.
oh, I'm sorry.
What the whole
Oh, hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Go ahead.
So the point that they do in here is they don't want you to take roof drains and discharge to streets, and because it's pollutants. You're taking water and you're doing here. It's going to a system and you're going to treat those pollutants. So so mine goes to a pipe, which is the storm sewers, which is not supposed to, but it's still going to an infiltration system to treat the pollutants. Then, so that's what it is. I have to take it to a system to get it around the building. I have no choice. I can't let it sheet over and slowly discharge to that basin.
So it's not a portion. It's the roof drains are going in.
It's a portion of roof drain, but it's only the part of the building.
Oh, that was my question.
Yeah,
Just-
actually, that one's not on. It was like, I think it's their inlet, it's only like these two sections that are going in it, coming down and going to the base down there. These sheet off and go directly with roof drains discharging overland to the berm, to the stormwater system.
Thank you. Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And I'll make a motion to waive section 365-13B. And for them to use the NOAA rainfall data.
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And then I think that leaves the other two.
Okay, yep. Section 39048.AA is in regards to sidewalks and road crosswalks may be required where necessary to provide property pedestrian circulation or to provide access to community facilities and common areas. As we stated, this is just one footprint that we're doing on a previously developed property, and they're talking about the recommendation or whatever was said by the engineer was to put possibly a sidewalk along Camelback Road. First of all, the property is all the gray, is steep slopes. So I don't know who would use the sidewalk. If you know, when you go around that hairpin turn, it's all steep slopes coming up through there. And then there's like cattails all along the left side, which is all wetlands. So their property pretty much ends where it comes into the chateau entrance. So it's nothing after that. So we were asking for a waiver on the sidewalk requirement. Plus, this is under an acre of earth disturbance. You get into that, you're getting into a whole ball game of stormwater and everything. So
Where exactly is this? You said it's along Camelback Road?
yeah, so when you go Camelback Road and before the hairpin turn, you have that property. So the creek's there, which you have buffer requirements. You couldn't put anything there to begin with. And you have all steep slopes on the left side when you're going up, and you hit the hairpin turn, you're going up that steep. That's all their property going up. It's the old ski side village.
Mhm.
And then there's an entrance right there. And then there's a little bit of an area that's a little mellow. But if you see in the summer, you can see all the big cattails growing there, and that's all going to be wetlands. And then you hit their entrance, which is the chateau. You have to go through the chateau parking lot to enter into the gates for the community. So
Do a lot of the people who live in this community work at Camelback? Like, would they potentially be walking to work if they had sidewalks there?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the community. Like, we're just developing the one footprint. That's all the HOAs. I don't really know much about the community.
Yeah,
to tell you the
it's
truth.
not our community. We just own the plot. That's the footprint that we're building.
Okay.
Leo, would this be a deferral or a waiver?
Read my mind, Jared. I would not recommend to the board that they waive it. If they're inclined to grant any relief, I would recommend that it be a deferral so that sometime in the future, circumstances change. You decide you want sidewalk there, it's required, but it's been deferred.
I'm inclined to think we should keep the sidewalks. If there are people up there working at Camelback, or even people who want to go there, we were just hearing about all the traffic issues we're having in this area. Sidewalks would provide a transportation alternative to people if they do live there and want to work at Camelback. It makes it a lot easier for them to get there without a car, and that'll take a little bit of strain off the traffic.
But again, this is not our community. We just own a footprint within the community.
So if we're gonna do that, we have to get HOA approval for any future stuff. I mean, if the deferral, my question is that just basically that you're deferring it? And if it's ever needed, we don't have to, they'd have to go in front of the HOA and get the HOA approval because they can't say that they can do the improvements because they don't own that property. Because that's the common open space thing. That's all common open space area and it's not owned by the applicant here. It's owned by the HOA.
I understand, but it's if sidewalks are required, which it sounds like they are.
Yeah.
A deferral would mean that in some time in the future, the developer, your client, will be called upon if deemed necessary to install the sidewalk, regardless of whether they had to go to HOA or anybody else.
Can they officially enter in an agreement if they don't own the property though?
No, that you couldn't do, but they'd have to put it on any property that they own.
So
Which they don't.
I'm inclined to say to waive it only because I don't want to concrete wetlands.
Yeah.
Everybody knows if you go up there, you know those, like I said, the cattails that are all growing up there. I mean, we didn't do a wetland delineation, but everybody knows that. It's been like that for years, as long as I've known.
I don't know how the
I agree.
board feels.
I agree.
Yeah, we don't, I don't think we need sidewalks up there.
I'll make a motion to waive section 39-48 AA for
Second.
sidewalks.
Oh, sorry.
Any discussion? Public comment? Anybody online, Jared? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried.
Okay, and the last one is the regards to the common open space, section 390-58. So we had discussed about this before. It was in lieu of fee or open space. As we stated, 75% of this property is all open space. As you can see in the overlay out, like little orange is the one footprint. There's a couple other footprints up through there. There's a total of 56 units, yeah, or 57 was approved, but this is going to be 56 total townhouse units. The rest is all open space. There's tennis courts, there's basketball courts. It's all owned by the HOA. That was done as part of the original development. So when we were looking at this, and I know we were going through this, my question is this. If you guys were hesitant about this, if anybody goes to build and does a land development or do subdivision, and you have 5 years to build that per the municipal planning code, times get bad, it stops, you didn't build 1 or 2 units and it's done. Okay, but then times get better and they want to build that. All the main improvements were done. Your open space was dedicated, everything was built, you didn't put a couple units in. This is the same thing. Every time they come back in, they're going to come back in, they're going to have to do a land development. Are you going to make them do more open space and an in lieu of fee again, even though it's the same development, is what I'm trying to say. So the open space is that whole property except the individual townhouse units. So if anybody ever lets their permit expires after the 5 years and then they want to do it, but they're doing the same thing, are you going to make them each time come in and do an open space and in lieu of fee every time? That's what the question. I'm just saying, that's what I'm trying to say. It's the same thing is what it is. This is an old development. The open space was already dedicated. There's already restrictions on that. They can't own it. They can't do anything to that open space. It's there. It's restricted. And open space, when I looked at the definition, the ordinance is not for everybody else. It's for that community.
No, it's public open space.
It's open space. If I can read your
Public
definition in
open
the
space.
ordinance, if you want me to.
No,
Please.
she's right.
Yeah, I can read the definition in the ordinance. It says for that community that
Yeah.
you're building.
Yeah, it could be public, but it has to be agreed on, or it could be private.
I
We've
don't know.
already done this. Yeah.
Is that the township or is that the state? Because my understanding of the state, my understanding of the state, the state requirement for this to have this provision, just because we don't say it in the township, we have to go by, we're up below the state. And the state says that it's for public open space. That's my understanding of it. Having looked into this a great deal because this is something I'm seriously concerned about. My understanding is that if you wanted to claim this as public open space, it would be a deed restriction on the property, which my understanding is that you're not interested in doing because it's supposed to be public. It's supposed to be for everyone. If we have more residents coming into regarding your concerns about somebody doing more development in the township, if you're building more units, you should have to dedicate more open space fund because those units are going to be occupied by people who are going to be using our public open space. So I don't really understand why we're even considering this waiver. There are going to be more people in the township. They're going to be using our parks. We can't say that just because there are basketball courts there, they won't be using our parks. Of course they will. I have a lawn at home. You know, I could play basketball at home, but I still go to the parks because my son loves the parks. If they're going to be using our public open space, they should be paying, you know, if the units that are being built are going to be using our public open space, there are going to be people living there using our public open space. They should be paying these open space fees so that we can fund that open space to make sure that we have adequate open space for all of the residents of Pocono Township. I don't think we should be handing this money away to developers.
Leo, oh, sorry. I was just curious if Leo or John had a take they wanted to share, or anything to add.
Not really. I mean, section B says the proposal for common open space shall be offered for review and I think offered for dedication. I thought I just saw that.
Yeah, this is
In
not,
favor
this is
of
not
dedicating
unique.
the open space. Yeah.
This is not unique to you. Anybody in your shoes coming here doing the same thing would be required to pay an open space fee of $419 per unit or $418 per unit. I understand what you're saying, but it's part of the developer's agreement. It's paid prior to plans being recorded, so you can't pull a permit until it's paid. So in the event they build 2, stop, and want to build 6, no, they're not going to have to come back and repay that fee. It's already documented, paid in full, upfront, done.
I have to disagree because we've already done this with a property on Brookdale Road that we allowed them to dedicate open space, which means it'll never be built on. It'll stay green. So the public gets the advantage of, that's not going to be a 5-story building. That's going to be green, whether it's a tennis court or whatever. It's not going to be built up. We've already done it. It's in our ordinance, and it's in the MPC that they have to agree. If we don't come to an agreement, but now from what I understand at our last meeting, they said they had already dedicated and deed restricted. I would like to make sure there is a deed restriction, but if it's already deed restricted and they've met the criteria under our ordinance that they put away so many acres, which it sounds like there's more acres of open space than built, I would have to guess they met that criteria. We could accept that.
I mean, they would rather give you open space, but we can't give you open space because it's all open space.
My opinion is that this development is so old.
Yeah.
It's established. The open space has been established since the 80s.
Yeah.
So why are we even discussing this? The open space is done. I don't think you need to pay any in lieu of fees. I don't think you should be pushed for any open space because it's already there. It's established, and it's not like you're building a high rise where there was no footprint. You're putting 4 townhouse units on a footprint that's already there. So you're not adding to the impervious surface, and you're not taking away from the open space that's been there since God created this planet. So I don't think you should have to deal with any of it. But I'm just an electrician, so I don't know nothing.
I'd just like to read from the legislative intent of the Preserving Land for Open Spaces Act of 1968, which I believe is what enables us to, have this provision. Statement of legislative intent: it is the purpose of this act to clarify and broaden the existing methods by which the Commonwealth and its local government units may preserve land in or acquire land for open space uses. The legislature finds that it is important to preserve open space to meet the needs for recreation, amenity, and conservation of natural resources, including farmland, forests, and pure and adequate water supply. The acquisition and resale of property interests authorized by the act are hereby declared to be for the public benefit, for the advancement of public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the citizens of the Commonwealth, and for the promotion of sound land development by preserving suitable open space and concentrating more dense development in nearby areas. So saying it's for the public benefit, for the public, public health, for general welfare, it's supposed to be land for everyone. It's supposed to be for the general benefit of all residents. I can go further into the act, but just looking at the legislative intent here, it seems very clear to me that the intention is to make sure that we have adequate space, recreation space for our residents in the township. If we're adding more units, we're adding more residents. If we're adding more residents, we need to add more public space for them to recreate. That's my perspective.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we waive section 390-58 per common open space.
Second.
Any discussion? Public comment? Anybody online, Jerry?
Yes, Mr. Knapp.
Thanks, Jared. I really have to take Charles's side here. Open space is what the Poconos means to people who are coming here. And if we give that up for nothing, then we're really not serving ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
I have a question. Didn't Mike say the open space fee was already paid or was
No.
designated years ago?
No, they've set aside, they restricted land to not be developed
Okay,
in lieu of, yeah.
thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Did you say no?
Mhm.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Next is our resolutions. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-10 LDP 1445 Mountain Edge Townhouse, which is what we just discussed.
Second.
Discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. Next on the list is resolution for a motion. I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2026-12 LDP 1414 135 Warner Road to deny the plan for failure to respond or address the deficiencies set forth in the engineering review letter dated 2/23/24. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Is there a timeline now? Because I know that was discussed previously, that there was no like strict timelines to abide by. And sometimes the plans were just kind of out in the middle of nowhere for years. Did we enact a time frame that they had to respond by?
No, I don't believe we enacted anything, to my knowledge, but no response. I assume they didn't ask for an extension or anything, right?
They did not ask for an extension. This is a property that had done a change of use without a permit. We did. Zoning had come in and let them know that they had to do a change of use. They did submit a new land development plan, and we've heard crickets since. So we've reached out for a little over a year now and haven't heard anything back.
Well, let them start over.
Do you have anything else, Natasha?
I mean, I've always agreed with you, Ellen, and that we have to set some kind of a timeline so that projects aren't just floating out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But my concern would be that the precedent has been set before that they have been out in the middle of nowhere, and we're now denying these plans for no response when we've allowed others to go for non-response.
I don't know that we did, because I think others had extended and we didn't extend and extend and extend, but I could be wrong. Jared,
I don't mind agreeing with denying, and I'm just saying we need to be fair for all across the board.
I agree. I agree.
We've attempted to reach out multiple times to see where they're at within the process, and we always get the kind of run around, oh, we're working on it, we'll get to it. And at this point, it seems they're more putting it off so they don't have to deal with it and spend the money than actually come into compliance.
Did you want to
So we
give them
have,
another
so
chance?
we have had conversations in the past 2 years with them?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said we've reached out and there's been no response.
We've reached out to let them know that they've gone past their deadline and they haven't shown up to any other planning commission meetings.
Yeah, we don't want this.
I mean, ultimately, they're in violation of not submitting a proper change of use.
Hmm.
This is the old United Way building, doing business currently as RLE Towing.
Any further discussion? Any public comment? Anybody online, Jared? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next one, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-13 LDP 1441 Leisure Lake at the Poconos to deny for failure to respond or to address the deficiencies set forth in the engineering review letter dated 3/11/25. Is there a second?
Second?
Yeah, I'll second by Charles. Discussion? I mean,
So same
with-
thing?
yeah,
We're denied, but
but this is 3/25, so
so this is review letter dated March 11th, 2025. They did submit an extension. Right? If I'm looking at this timeline correct for the Leisure Lake at the Poconos, 1157 Wickasset Drive, right?
So
review period ends 2/28, extension to 2/28 received 11/12. So aren't they still within the review period, which is 2/28/2026?
Do we have another meeting before that time?
But we're going to deny them arbitrarily before the end of their review period?
Without an extension of time, if that extension lapses and we don't take action, it could be deemed approved.
So we could technically table this then, right? And
We don't have another meeting in February.
then we would deny it in March, right? I mean, it-
Too late. At that point, it's too late, then
Oh,
it's deemed
gotcha.
approved.
I got you.
Yeah. Yep.
You could,
So
you could make a motion to deny it unless an extension request is received on or before X.
yes, what is that date?
It looks like 2/28/26 is the end of the
2/26.
review period, right?
Okay.
Yeah, review period expires
Okay.
February
Then
28th.
I'll amend my motion, unless they get an extension to us on or before 2/28/26.
I'll second that.
What's the last conversation we've had with them? Paul,
So they very recently came in for permits to connect to the sewer system. It's kind of outside the scope of this land development. They are working to develop the property still. We work with Mike Gable to kind of get that sewer lateral and pat. It's kind of been a long time coming. This, I believe, is just for the combination of two lots.
Well, there's a pretty big issue in that they're trying to get a portion of Wiscasset Road dedicated to them from the township. I walked them through the process probably about 5 or 6 months ago, and they haven't done anything to do that. But they have to survey. They have to determine who the owners are on the opposite side of the road, and if they want the entire road, they've got to get those people to agree to give up their portion. And I don't see where any progress is being made. They seemed in a big hurry 4 or 5 months ago, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Then I think if we contact them and remind them that their extension is due and we make this pending this date, then we've given them sufficient notice.
Yeah, if you don't comply within the review period, I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's also another outlying issue in regard to they've been issued a temporary CO for the past 2 years. April nears that deadline, and we've gone back and forth quite a few times of their sewer system and the argument of where they feel they're deferred for their sewer system. John, Pat, Helen, Paul, and I and Mike Gable have gone back and forth. It has only come under recently as a threat to pull that CO to get them in compliance. Ultimately, the township went above and beyond to give them a 2-year temporary CO, where we generally don't give more than a year. And it's at the end, and now we've had meeting after meeting after meeting with the same result. So it was finally said, if something is not done by April, we will pull the CO. So in regard to this, they have to connect the sewer first before they can do any other expansion or subdivision or expansion on that property.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment? Anybody online?
Yes, Angela Loyson. Angela Loyson, you have your hand up.
Is she muted?
Yeah. Maybe it's by accident.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Ellen, before we move on, and I'm sorry, but going back to the previous motion for the 135 Warner Road, if Leo can look into it, because we just voted to deny that, and it looks like their review period expires 3/9/2026. There is a meeting in between tonight and that meeting, according to this chart. So it's more of a housekeeping item to find out when their review period actually ends, because our documents say 3/9.
Oh, okay. So would that be a Leo thing or a poll thing?
Yeah, I mean, if the person who moved to approve the resolution denying the plan would agree, they can bring it back to the floor to add the condition unless an extension is received on or before whatever that last date is. So whoever made that motion would have to bring that to the floor under parliamentarian rules. And then the seconder would have to agree for that to come back to the floor. And once it comes back to the floor, you could add that amendment.
What is that date?
According to the chart, it's March 9th.
I made that motion, so I will. How do I bring it back? Just make another motion?
You would make a motion to rescind the previous motion made on this matter.
Okay.
And to do that first.
Okay, I'll make a motion to rescind the previous motion on resolution 2026-12. Is there a second? Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Now, Madam President, I believe we have a meeting before that date. You could wait until that date and instruct Jared or somebody to send out a letter saying we need an extension of time prior to that date, or we will be taking action at that meeting.
I think that's probably the better route, just to put it on our next agenda, Jared.
Will do.
And please give them a call, a courtesy call. Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to do the next part separately. Make a motion. Is there a motion for the minutes of February 2nd, January 20th, and January 5th to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the February 2nd, January 20th, and January 5th and January 5th reorganization meeting minutes of the Board of Commissioners. Have a second?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? I had a few, I think corrections. I don't know if I sent them out late this afternoon, but, on the one there, it didn't name David Mara to the vacancy board. That needs to be added. And I have it all marked up here.
Ellen, when did you send this?
This afternoon.
Did you just send it to Jared?
I think I sent it to everybody.
I didn't get anything.
I don't have anything.
Nobody got it? Okay. So I didn't hit send. Let me check.
Yeah, the only email I got from you, Ellen, was the engagement letter. Notification about the engagement letter.
Because it got sent back to my drafts. That's all. Okay. So,
Oops.
yep. Well, I sent it now, but these are just corrections to the minutes. And then on page 3 of the minutes of January 20th, the second item under Charles, it looks like there was a motion made and then I made a motion to table, but the original motion isn't on there, so I don't know what we tabled. But then it says,
It should be a motion failed.
and then it says no second was noted on the motion to table. And I didn't know if that's, did I miss that and I didn't call for it? Or was it just not heard on the tape? I'm not sure what that meant.
There was no second, so motion failed. So we'll make that amendment.
So that was on the library letter. So okay. So if that's it, then yeah, but there was a motion and then it got tabled. So that just needs to be there. And if it,
So can we just approve them with those changes, Leo?
Yes.
Okay.
and my other question was on January 5th. I thought they were gonna summarize them, but they looked to me like they were the same, so I don't know if they got summarized.
I thought they were summarized.
They look pretty lengthy on this.
I think we agreed to leave the reorganization meeting minutes the same just to save on effort. It was the actual commissioners meeting that
got summarized.
we wanted to have summarized, and I think that is what they did.
Leo, does Charles need to amend his motion at all, considering the changes Alan just brought up?
You could, yes, you should move to amend, you should move to rescind the motion, current motion, and then move to accept the minutes as amended and proposed by Commissioner Deneen.
Okay, I'll make a motion to rescind my motion, approving the minutes. Do I have to say all of them? The February 2nd meeting, January 20th, January 5th, and January 5th reorganization meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carried.
All right, and then I'll make the motion to accept the minutes from the February 2nd, January 20th, January 5th, and January 5th reorganization meetings of the Board of Commissioners, noting Commissioner President Ganance corrections or changes, corrections, comments.
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. And I'll make a motion that we approve the financial transactions through February 17th, 2026 as presented, including ratification of expenditures in the amount of $841,804.91 for the general fund, sewer operating, gross payroll, capital reserve, construction fund.
Second.
Any discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. To new business. Before I make a motion, Pocono Manor Resort. Paul, have you been out there again, or what is the findings on that?
So I believe someone from the Pocono Manor investment company reached out to Leo's office and invited us to take a look at it. I haven't heard back if it's been scheduled or not.
Attorney Ralph Materja called after our last meeting and extended an invitation to us, to the township, to bring out whoever they deem necessary to look at the property and inspect the property. Spoke with Sean McGlynn, who was concerned about safety trying to traverse through the snow to get out there. So they've indicated a willingness to be cooperative, but it's a function now of waiting for a little bit more snow to get out of the way so they can go out there without fear of tripping or hurting themselves. So yes, they have acknowledged and they have agreed to allow us to come out and share any additional information that they may have with us concerning the status of that property and the dangerous nature of that property.
So a motion at this point would be premature if you're going to.
That's up to the board. Sean and I discussed that, Madam President. It's not going to change anything if you declare it a dangerous structure, other than perhaps having to rescind that motion at some later date after inspection. But it's whatever the pleasure of the board is. It's not going to hurt one way or the other.
Just to update the board, there have been a significant amount of complaints from everything from vagrants living within the building to urban exploration. The chief was kind enough to provide all those reports.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to make a motion with a date on there if there's no action taken by that time by the developer, the owner.
We have to specify what kind of action we'd look for them to take. But I think a motion to declare Pocono Manor Resort a dangerous structure would be appropriate with that additional information provided by Mr. Belvin in order to start the process. And then we can schedule the inspection and detail the other items that are concerning to the township.
I'll make that motion then to declare Pocono Manor Resort a dangerous structure.
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? Anybody online?
Surprisingly, no.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Motion carried. Next, do we have a motion to authorize the township solicitor to advertise a hearing for the police cost recovery ordinance?
Oh, yes, I'll make that motion. Motion to authorize the township solicitor to advertise a hearing for the police cost recovery ordinance.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Is now the time to discuss the issues with the ordinance, Leo, or do you want to do that in the hearing?
No, we're going to advertise it. We should discuss that now.
You have issues, you're saying?
Yeah, I have some questions and some comments on it.
What you got?
So, I understand that this was, sorry. I understand that this was derived from basically one or two properties that some people feel that are overusing. Where is, how do multifamily properties fall into this? So there's one parcel of land with numerous properties. The way that this is reading is anything over 2 response within 30 days to any property is then going to cost that that taxpayer a deposit into the general fund.
Yeah,
Am
so
I reading this correctly?
yeah, my understanding is it would fall to the property owner, and I just want to add, the ordinance itself is separate from a resolution that would be required outlining a fee structure, which we don't have yet. We're just moving the ball forward on the ordinance. So the fee structure hasn't even been drafted yet, and that would have to be done in conjunction with passing this ultimately.
So essentially, I mean, shouldn't this be split up by addresses then instead of parcels? So theoretically, I have numerous rentals on my property. They're all adults. I pay the taxes. So if there's a police response 2 times in 30 days to my property, you're then going to penalize me?
The third, starting on the third.
So
is
you're
how
going to
the-
penalize me when I have 12 structures, and I'm talking me personally. I have 12 structures on my property that I pay taxes for. And if the police come twice in 30 days, you're then going to start charging me?
Well, the third. But
on the third time, that's what I'm saying.
Leo, do you want to
So
speak to
12
the
residences.
Do you want to speak to the language of it and her question about the parcel?
Well, sure. It's the parcel is the property owner. So to answer your question directly, Natasha, the answer is yes. If there are a third one within that 30-day period, then yes, you would be assessed costs.
So then you're going to discourage people to not contact the police, essentially, because people are going to be scared that they're going to be charged.
Are you?
I don't think we're discouraging people from calling the police. The residents, they're not the ones being charged. We're encouraging the property owner to make sure that, they don't have people who are.
So this was
issues.
derived, and it was in the minutes. This was derived because of 1 or 2 properties within the township that some people feel are using excess services. So instead of penalizing those properties or figuring out how to bring a solution to those, you're now going to penalize every single taxpayer within the township because 1 or 2 properties we feel use excess.
I don't think that that's an accurate characterization at all. I mean, we're concerned about short-term rentals. We're concerned about big resorts. We're concerned about more than just resorts. The crossings
So
are.
short-term rentals, the TDU fee that was charged should cover those fees. The crossings, Camelback are the 2 big ones that have been mentioned. So you're making all taxpayers suffer for 2 large properties. And again, taking consideration that the amount of money that these properties do pay in property taxes, and now you're going to penalize them for guests that they don't have necessary control over. They're adults who want to call the police. You're now going to penalize them, and you're going to penalize personal property owners for using police services that, as far as I'm concerned, a portion of my tax dollars go towards.
Well, so I just have a statement and then a question. First of all, property owners still get 24 free police calls in a year. I don't know how many police calls.
I would hope that you wouldn't need that many.
No, I'm
As
just
a normal property owner, I'm just saying these are all things that need to be addressed.
Well, so my question, that was my statement. My question is, are you proposing changing the language from parcel to, do you have a suggestion on the specific language, or are you just going to object to the whole thing?
I mean, I think that it should be a little more restrictive as far as if you want to target some of those larger properties, it may want to be targeted more towards resort districts and commercial businesses versus the individual taxpayer. Because again, so you're going to take a single family house and they pay X amount of taxes, and then you're going to take Camelback and they pay 500 times the amount of taxes that the normal taxpayer pays, and you're going to give them 2 phone calls. They've got how many rooms? I don't know. So over 100 rooms at least. You're going to give them 2 calls per month.
Well,
And
that's
if we don't, and if it goes above those two, we're gonna charge them?
well, you're saying we should target them. That's exactly how
I
we
didn't say we
tar-
should target them. That was a statement that was made.
You're just saying, you just said, you know, maybe we should target it to commercial districts, resorts.
Because you
That's
shouldn't,
exactly
it shouldn't be
what,
going on the normal taxpayer.
right. But it's not. I mean,
But it is, it's literally, it's specifically talking about private property.
The amount of
And every
properties-
owner and or property manager in the township shall.
There are not many. I mean, I don't have the exact number on how many properties exceed 24 police calls in a year, but I know that it's not that many. I mean, I don't even know if there's a single residential property that does exceed that. The numbers that I had our police department compile, all of the properties that were in the top 5, I think is what I got, you know, were resorts, the crossings, you know, so I don't even think a residential property might be affected. Now, if you want to suggest changing the language from parcel to, you know, specific addresses or whatever, I'm open to that completely. Because again, that's not the intent of the ordinance, and I don't think that will be the effect either as it's drafted, but I'm still open to
I think
that.
that it will, only because we've got several multifamily properties within the township.
Well, how many police calls do you have at your property?
I'm not fighting for my property. I'm
Well, you
using my
mentioned that, and I'm
property
just
as-
curious.
I'm using my property
As an example.
As
So-
an example.
So how many police calls did you guys, I mean,
Not
over
that many, but
24?
again, if you
So
have,
then you're not gonna be
but
affected.
if you,
I don't think that's the.
it's not the point.
Then
The
what's-
point is you're penalizing the individual homeowners who could potentially be charged if they have, if you're a landlord and you have tenants in your property and there are domestic disturbances.
That doesn't count. There are exceptions.
Yes, spousal abuse, domestic abuse, child abuse are all exempted.
If you want to go after the big properties, go after the big properties, not all the little fish. And this ordinance is going after everyone equally, and I just don't think it's fair.
I don't like the characterization that we're going after anyone. If we're going after anyone, it's to recover costs from people who are disproportionate police users. If you're a disproportionate police user, then you should be paying additionally to ensure that we are able to provide that service to you.
What are their taxes going towards then?
Well, the police department's budget has increased by like $2 million in the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, it's, you know, the costs are going up, and you know, it's in large part because of these disproportionate users that the costs need to go up. So I don't think it's unreasonable to ask that, you know, these people who are using a disproportionate amount of the police service pay their fair share to ensure that the cost isn't falling onto the residents to pick up the tab for that.
So if a place has 100 rooms, they only get 2 police calls in a 30-day, which is a lot, is the same as a single family.
Well, after they
So
exceed their what was it, Matt? 29
within 30 days.
for a year?
No, it's 2 within any 30-day period.
Right.
So
Okay.
then, so
20.
So those large properties who pay all those taxes, you're only giving them 2 within 30 days. And then we're gonna start charging them on the 3rd. Do we think that's fair?
Yes.
If you have over 100 rooms, do you
Yes.
think that's fair?
Yes.
Interesting.
So I'm confused. You're arguing that it might affect residential properties, but now you're talking about properties with 100 rooms. So I'm just confused as to your argument.
Because I'm talking about everything and I'm talking about the proportions of it.
Well, yeah, the 100-room, you know, properties. That's what the intent of the ordinance is to target. So that's exactly.
So, but what are, Monica's got her hand up forever. Hold on one second, Monica, sorry. So
We'll take public comment after the board discussion is over.
What are those properties paying taxes? Is that not to get some public services, as in fire, police, like?
So
they're only allowed 2?
Well, half of our budget is not police related, half is, roughly speaking. And regardless of some of the comments that have been made, we do have a $2 million budget deficit. So, I mean, I think it's completely appropriate to talk about the cost of our police department, our budget, the deficit, not wanting to raise taxes on, you know, the people in this room, the residential taxpayers. I mean, the whole goal of this ordinance is to help balance our budget, which has been left to us. And I think it's completely appropriate. This is exactly how Easton Police Department and Easton, you know, does it. I think Leo can speak to this, but I think it was largely drafted on their ordinance. I don't know if there were many changes made to their ordinance, but it's lawful, it's appropriate, it's not going to affect residences unless you have over 25 police calls in a year that are not related to domestic abuse, child abuse, spousal abuse, stuff like that. So again, I'm open to language changes though on your specific concern at the outset, which was the parcel versus
What do they relate to
residential.
then?
Well, I mean,
Where do they relate? I mean,
so our top police calls, you know, the crossings you can guess will be theft and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
okay.
The resorts, you know, it's public drunkenness,
okay,
disorderly
I'm
conduct.
talking about Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner.
Yeah, they're not going to have 25 police calls in a year. That's the point.
But that should be differentiated out too, because you're giving a single family home the same allotment of police calls as you are the crossings and Camelback. And then if they use those, they're then going to be charged in the third. Do they get a discount if they don't use them, like on their taxes, because they're paying taxes for part of these public services?
Leo, I don't think we can target people. I don't think we can have an ordinance, you know, just for, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it has to be, go ahead.
I don't like to use the word target at all. I think it has to be applied fairly and equally across the board.
That's what I'm saying. We can't target.
Right. Well, right. We cannot target. That's
Right.
a better way to put it. Yes.
So would it be fair if you said, like the Crossings has, I don't know, 100 stores? If each store was its own address, you would give 2 shots for each store?
And then you've got multifamilies, you've got hotels again. So you're lumping together a single family home and a hotel that has 100 rooms. How is that fair to only give them 2?
I'm open to specific language changes, but I agree with the intent of the ordinance, and I agree with the way Easton does it, which is why that's what.
This ain't Easton.
No, I'm just saying, you know, in terms of having your own police department, having to bear the cost of that, and having disproportionate police users in your, you know, municipality, that this is the way that you're allowed to lawfully recoup specific costs related to police calls. You know, otherwise, I mean, if you guys, we can only go on with a $2 million deficit for so long.
I would just want to say, you know, we're saying that, you know, the businesses are paying extra. No, it's the residents who are picking up the cost for these disproportionate users. If they are driving up the cost of policing in the township and we're all having to pay for it, I'm paying for it, you know, by potentially seeing my taxes go up in the future if these costs continue to rise. I would rather see, you know, the disproportionate users picking up that tab rather than it being distributed to all the residents so that, you know, we're socializing those costs. I don't think that that's reasonable. I think we should be recovering the costs from the people who are, you know, causing the township to incur those costs.
Yeah, I don't want to raise taxes.
The disproportionate is on the increase in taxes. You do realize that 2% of 100 is different than 2% of 1,000. So when taxes go up 2% on a single family homeowner, that 2% is very small compared to a larger tax parcel. It's going up more.
Yeah, but
there's the disproportionate right there is that increase.
Well, but I mean, there's infrastructure costs. There's a lot more that goes into, you know, what those businesses are, you know, the burden that they're putting on the township. I mean, there's all the land development costs. There's all of the infrastructure costs. There's all of the maintaining the roadways. And I mean, you know, there are a lot more costs than just the police. This is a way that we can specifically target policing because this is something that is easy for us to quantify. It's hard for us to quantify how many cars are on the road, but it's easy for us to quantify how many police calls are coming in, and we can take that cost and we can make sure that we're recovering it from the people who are causing the township to incur it, not from all of the residents, so that the residents aren't picking up that tab.
We're going to take some public comment. Monica, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Vincent.
So Matt, I get your point and I see where our police department is stressed. However, I do have concerns. I kind of back with Natasha. I do have concerns of public safety. Is the crossings going to say, you know what, just let the people shoplift because we don't want to keep paying the fines. We know that a lot of people are doing that. I also do agree that it's going to deter people from calling the police. I was at Dunkin' Donuts this past week and a guy was smoking marijuana in his car as the car is running. So I know he's going to drive away. If I were to call the police to Dunkin' Donuts and they need them in a couple of days, are they then going to be fined because the police are coming to their, it just makes you wonder. I do think that you do have to really pay attention to the language of what you're proposing and make sure that it's not going to make people not call the police, because I do think that that's going to be a deterrence. I think people are going to say, that, you know, I get you want to go after the cost, but I also think it's a safety issue too.
Thank you. Vincent?
Thank you. I'm confused. It'll just take 2 seconds. What's the criteria? There was, if there's a fender bender, 2 of them in one night, does that count as my 2?
So actually vehicle accidents you are not allowed to include. So those are exempt.
There's a bad sin and a good sin. There's things that are okay, that are acceptable.
There's things that are lawfully allowed to be collected.
And that will be when Mr. DeVito writes your.
I believe he's aware of the vehicle accident exemption. I think we've spoken about that.
Then what will be?
I'm well aware of that.
Yeah.
What will be not allowed?
What I'm aware of being exempt is vehicle accidents, spousal abuse, child abuse, domestic abuse. I think
Domestic violence.
I think those are the ones that are exempt.
And what about medical?
Okay, thanks.
And medical calls, I believe, are. I have to check.
Cheryl?
So under this ordinance, I live on a private road. We have to maintain it. We get no services except, imagine the fire company would come beside police. Because the township allowed a special exception and didn't follow our deed restrictions, which said the usage should be residential. And now we have a business there. In 2 months, I had the police there 8 times.
You'd pay the fee based on this ordinance.
Yeah.
Their time.
So I can get run over by Airedales. I can have them on my property. I can have people dumping stuff on my property, trespassing on my property, but I'm not allowed to call the police. I mean, this is like ridiculous. I just find it ridiculous. I think we should find another way to finance the police, but the township is the one that said the zoning ordinance was, they didn't have to follow it. And then I'm in a situation where I call the police to keep from getting run over, stuff dumped on my property, people trespassing with sick dogs, the whole people screaming at me on my property. So I'm just saying, as a resident, I think there was a 2 month period where I had the police there like 8 times.
Thank you.
Leo, are you aware? I'm sorry. Are you aware of any other ways to, you know, either exempt residences or protect residences or change the language? Specifically to Cheryl's concern there.
Yeah, honestly, I'd have to look at it.
Okay. Well,
I know there's a uniformity requirement in most ordinances, and I
Right.
would suspect this would also be one. But if we're talking about exempting certain situations, I'd have to take a look at that, honestly.
Wouldn't it be easier to do it by, can you do it by zoning classification?
I'm going to look into that, Natasha.
Because I mean, I would be a little bit more amenable to that if it was based on zoning classification. So you kick out your R1s and stuff.
The uniformity clause that he's talking about, that's my concern. But I'm like I said, I'm open to language changes as long as they're lawful, obviously.
Go ahead.
Frank Greeley, Township resident. Back last summer, I started coming here because people were riding ATVs on the road. I was told specifically to continuously call the police when I saw them. I must have called them 9 times in a month. So all of a sudden I'm going to get charged for that. That's number one. Number two, there's other ways to potentially fund this. Our police department gets called by local townships when the state police don't show up. Maybe we need to go after the local townships outside of Pocono and charge them a fee. Maybe get, I don't know, $500,000 back for the entire year or something like that. We wouldn't get it all back. We wouldn't, you know, fix our $2 million deficit. But why charge everybody else all this money and extra money, you know?
So the uniformity clause is the answer to your second question. I don't think you can target specific townships. You know,
Well, if we go into different townships, why is Pocono Township residents paying for people to go into Smithfield?
Mutual aid. They come to us too.
Right, but you can ask them for money, is my understanding. They can refuse it, which is what they've done. There's got to be a better way to do this, where if they want mutual, I mean, the state police gives them mutual aid. If the state police can't get there for a half an hour, then that's when we go. How is that reasonable? We pay whatever half of our budget to the Pocono Township Police Department in taxes, okay, for everybody. And these townships that our guys go to, I don't care how many times it is, we're paying that. If the local townships in the area don't want to pay, then something needs to change, and maybe Pocono Township needs to lead that charge.
Thank you, Frank. Your time is up. Thank you.
Leo, the ordinance doesn't just apply to Pocono Township, does it? I mean, it would apply to mutual aid calls if there were more than 2 police calls at a property. Correct me.
The chief has, I think, comments on the mutual aid component of this.
Yeah, obviously, we have mutual aid from all surrounding agencies, including state police. So, I mean, we are called to assist them outside our township at times. There are times when they may have officers not available to handle an emergency call, and they ask us to actually handle it. But we find ourselves in that same position. So equally, the state police could start charging when we ask for backup. So that's a very sensitive area that usually we don't want to go down that road.
But is that a road that could be gone down? Because we have 22 officers now, whereas I don't know how many the state police have, but if they're being called to, I don't want Smithfield or whatever, right? Some of them have their own, police departments like Stroudsburg and stuff, but one of the ones that don't, that we go to, and the state police don't have enough personnel to get there. Why does I understand the whole, hey, shake, on a handshake, you're going to come and we're going to come when you can't get there. But we have 22 people for our township. And the township, what Toby Hanna has, I believe 43 for theirs, and they're regional. So we have half of them, and we have much smaller area than I believe that township does.
Right.
And I mean,
I'm sorry, but your time is up.
oh no, I was just responding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to say that the vast majority of the calls are coming from not to target people specifically, but it's Camelback, it's Great Wolf, it's the Crossings. Those are the top three, and it's not even close. Okay, and I also want to say this is just to advertise a hearing. We're not voting to adopt an ordinance tonight, and in fact, I'm not even saying I necessarily will support adopting an ordinance. We're having a separate conversation regarding the amusement tax with the resorts, which is a 10 times bigger issue from my perspective. And if we have resolution on that issue, then hopefully we don't even have to go this route. But at the end of the day, we have a $2 million deficit. I don't want to raise taxes on residences, and there have to be solutions brought to the table.
Right. I'm just saying, why don't we try thinking outside the box rather than trying to tax our own people, our own hotels? I mean, they do pay a lot in taxes. I'm a business owner myself. I pay, so at the end of the day, there's got to be ways to think outside the box here. And that's just one of the ideas that I came up with.
Thank you.
Leo, I have a question. So how does this work if someone's calling on like a neighbor? They're not responding to, the person who's calling's property. They're responding to, a noise complaint that, somebody down the street. Is it still the person who calls? Is that like outside of the scope of this ordinance?
To me, it would be the offending property. In other words, if I see somebody committing a crime on my neighbor and I report that crime and I give them my address, I mean, I would assume that, when I don't want to pick on Cheryl tonight, but I assume that when Cheryl calls, she explains what the situation is, that there are Airedales running at large. The police are going to have to come to her property to observe those Airedales, but it would go back to the offending party, which would be the owner of the kennel. So
then it seems like this is kind of a non-issue. If people are having problems on their own property and they're calling because they're creating their own problems, those are the properties that we're trying to recoup the cost from. But if it's an offending, if it's a neighbor who's creating the problem and you're calling to try to have that issue addressed, it doesn't sound like that would fall under the scope of this ordinance. Or if it did, it would be, like Leo's saying, the offending party, the neighbor who is creating the issue, that would then be seeing that cost incurred. So it may even be a deterrent for people who are repeat offenders with these sorts of things.
But the offending party would then be guilty until proven innocent, because the police would have to witness the Airedales running around in order to deem that the kennel was at fault. And Cheryl has done many pictures, so I'm not saying she didn't, but what if Cheryl made that up and they weren't running around? And then you're guilty until proven innocent then?
I think
because the offending property, aka the kennel, Cheryl was making all this stuff up and she just kept calling 8 times in 2 months and nothing was true. Then, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I mean, if that was the case, then I do think it would be reasonable for
you ever
them
seen
to.
videos on Facebook about the HOAs and people calling on each other all the time? Like they just do it to upset their neighbors.
Well, then I think that again, then it's a deterrent for them to, then they would be
They're not
incurring the
gonna,
cost.
but they're not gonna be penalized. It's the person that's being called on that's being penalized, not
Well,
the person
if
who's
the
making
police
the phone
come out
calls.
and there's nothing that they can determine, then it seems like the cost would then go to the person who made the call, right? I mean,
Not according
if
to this
the
ordinance.
police come
It
out
goes
and
to
they
the
can
part- it goes
verify
to
the issue.
property owner that they respond to.
So should we postpone this until everybody has a chance to send in what the words change would be? Because to advertise a hearing and change it at the hearing, you'd have to have another hearing.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of, specific concerns or changes or anything.
And I, Madam President, I also would like to look at the issue as to whether or not we could do it by zoning district.
Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion to table.
I'll second that.
Can I ask a question for understanding?
No.
Not on a motion to table. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I guess before we get off topic, I just wanted to share with you, I tally up the mutual aid numbers every month. So just for the last month, we had 8 provided mutual aids to other agencies and received 13. And I think consistently we've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, I send it to you guys every month, but I think we've consistently seen like 50-50.
Given and received.
Close to
It's
50-50 at
been-
times. So
Yeah.
that would be my concern, is that we need them as much as they need us. So
Yes, sure. Thank you. Okay. Next up is, do we have a motion to add a stop sign to MCTI driveway and Laurel Lake Road?
So that's mine, but I don't know if it's a motion to add a stop sign or to investigate it further.
Where would the stop sign be? In
So-
their driveway or on the road?
So I received 2 phone calls from residents. Common sense is if you're intersecting into a road, you stop. However, there was an incident for each of these residents that they were almost T-boned from the MCTI property. Now, I did not make the phone call. I was told that they called MCTI and they said they don't need a stop sign because it's private property. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. We have a great relationship with MCTI, so I'm sure it can all be amended with a phone call. One of them being a bus and not saying it was Pocono Mountain School District. I don't know what busing company it was. There's many busing companies that go there. I drove there. There legitimately is not a stop sign at the bottom of the MCTI property where it intersects with Laurel Lane Road. And again, common sense is you stop. However, from what I understand, people are not stopping and they're blowing right through.
Yeah.
So I wanted some investigation into it, maybe a phone call with MCTI to say, hey, can we come to an agreement on this?
That's what I was going to suggest. If you'd like, I can reach out to Dennis
Sure.
and have a discussion with him.
Yeah.
And maybe it's even a situation where if we have a stop sign, we can offer to him. But let me have a
It's
conversation.
ridiculous, but yes, I know. I'm sorry.
No,
Like I said, it's common
it's not
sense. to
ridiculous.
stop,
It's a
but-
safety matter. It's a safety matter. So
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Dennis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Next, do we have a motion to purchase 3 MyoVision adaptive systems installation from Signal Service not to exceed $80,000?
Second.
I didn't really make the motion, but
Oh, I heard you say motion too.
No. I said, do I have a motion?
Oh,
You making the motion, Mike?
sure.
Is there a second?
I'll second to discuss. I wonder, Jared, can you speak to this briefly?
This is something that we had included in our capital budget. If you recall, back in 2017, we had undergone the Green Lake Go grant. We started the engineering for it. COVID came along. PennDOT rescinded the grant. COVID left. Monies came in, and PennDOT said you can have the Green Lake Go grant back. In that, we had converted 3 of our lights to the MyoVision adaptive systems, which is tied into Harrisburg server farm. Basically what that does, it's an AI-based adaptive system where, let's just say there's an accident or construction on Route 80. It then talks to Harrisburg and it says throttle Route 611 rather than the feeder roads to get the traffic through Pocono Township as fast as possible. We have 11 traffic lights. We have 3, or we now have 4. We did add a second one. I'm sorry. we did another round where the township had paid that out of pocket for the Acorn Light, Lower Swiftwater and Route 611. So we are also submitting Green Light Go grant for some safety intersections at the Brookdale Road and Route 611 intersection. And we have the final 4 wrapped into that. Obviously, for the system to work correctly, we need to have all our traffic lights on the adaptive base system. These also provide us traffic counts and remote capabilities, everything from, counting cars and mobile diagnostic, and also the ability to look at the intersection via camera rather than have to dispatch somebody out there. So that being said, this is kind of a 2-part thing. We've got the Green Light Go, which would be the 4 final systems, and the not the adaptive, but the intersection changes for Brookdale Road and 611. We've got the other 3 as part of our capital budget.
So are any of these paid for by the developer at those intersections? Because I know one developer did pay for the Rimrock Road thing, even though they developed up the highway. For some reason, they had to pay for Rimrock, but we now have a Wawa going in. Would they be picking up the tab for a microvision on that light?
So that light already has a microvision system on it. As far as that Wawa going on, they do have to make significant PennDOT changes to Route 611 and to Bartonsville Avenue. So they have to put decel lanes in there as well. Same thing with the credit union that's potentially coming, along with the dual brand hotel. They will also have to make significant changes to that intersection. And then, part 3 of that is the turning lane project that we've had staged since 2018 with monies from Senator Scavello. And we also have 2 other grants tied into that we've been submitting extensions on.
So these 3, are we going to have, is everybody going to have it, or we still need more?
We'll still need more, but we're also submitting for a Green Light Go grant in March that will then be the final chain to all this to finally connect everything.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment? Anybody online? Frank?
I was just looking. All right. Frank Riley, Township President. I was just looking up the grant that he was just speaking about, and it looked like there was a up to $40 million pool. Can any of that money be used? I know not the 40,000; it's not a big chunk, but can any of that money be used towards the issue we had before with the police? Bringing down some of the costs.
These are for intersection repairs
Specifically
okay. Only, yeah.
That was just going to be my question, because I just saw.
Yeah. So in the past, we have tried to offset police services by using Department of Justice grants, which we have received in the past. We did go for a justice grant last year for stationary LPRs, license plate recognition systems, and we were actually denied because our major crime rate was too low.
Go figure.
So that's a good thing. It is a good thing.
You good, Jim?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to approve the bidding and construction schedule for the demolition and construction of the abutments for the TLC Park pedestrian bridge. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
We're replacing that bridge. Isn't that bridge pretty new?
This is for the walking bridge over the 2 ponds.
Oh, okay. It's not the one over the river.
Yeah, the
Okay.
next one.
So this one's being fully funded from an LSA grant that was received last year. So basically, John had a rendering of it. I don't know if you have the old rendering, but this is it's a decorative wooden bridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the centerpiece for downtown TLC Park.
Okay. Yeah. No, I when I saw Walking Bridge, I was like, I could have sworn your name was on that plaque, Jared. It couldn't be too old, the one going across the river. So I thought it was that one. As long as it's not that one, then yeah, no, that makes sense. 2019.
That was the bridge over the stream to connect the T-ball field.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine with me.
Any public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to purchase a timber pedestrian bridge for TLC Park through CoStars.
Second.
What is the price on that?
The price that I got about 5 months ago, I think it was $116,000. I did speak with the supplier today. He couldn't confirm that they would hold that price, but he says in the past they've always been good about holding a price like that. So I think it's going to be that price or close to it.
How much is covered by the grant?
250,000.
Oh,
Yeah, we're well within budget.
perfect. Do we have plans to use up the rest of that money for any other improvements in the park there, or?
Well, we didn't get the bid. Part of that money in the grant will have to go for the demolition of the existing bridge
Okay.
and the construction of the abutments, and I don't know what that's going to cost yet.
And because DEP is involved, you can add some cost to that as well. In the past, we have submitted a scope of work adjustment where they have given us additionals. Let's just say we use the dog park is a perfect LSA example. We had used about 70% of it, and we submitted a scope of work change, and that allowed us to get more cameras, tables, and grills for TLC Park. So if we don't use it all, it never hurts to ask. The state's pretty good about that. DCD is pretty good.
Okay. So you feel the 116 is a reasonable price?
Yes.
Okay. So would we, I guess this is for Leo, can we say not to exceed? And then if it exceeds, we have to bring it back again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Then I'm going to amend my motion to not to exceed $116,000.
Second.
Any further discussion? Public comment? Pat?
Hi, my name's Pat Ross. And you voted to construct the bridge before you voted to buy the timber. And now the timber is going to be more than you want, so are you still going to build a bridge?
I'm not sure what he said.
Pat, we only went out to bid. We were only authorized to go out to bid for the abutments and the demolition. If that item comes in too high, we can reject all those bids. We're not locked into doing anything yet.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to approve the waiver of the pavilion rental fees for the Masonic organization on Pavilion 3 for October 25th.
Second.
Discussion?
What's that?
Hamilton Day Lodge, they're having a lunch for underprivileged children. It's a single mothers group. Yeah. Yeah, amazing.
Any public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And next we need a motion to appoint Mike Stetler Jr. inspection mechanic in accordance with Article 30 licensing of the CBA.
I'll make that. I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
There you go.
Do you want to just speak to that, Pat?
Yeah, so as part of our collective bargaining agreement, there's provision to have two mechanics positions within the staff. Currently, we have one. So we put out the request, and the only person that came back that had an interest and was also qualified was Mike Stetler Jr. So that's why we recommend him for the position.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. This is what I added in the beginning. I'm going to make a motion that the board ratify and confirm its prior direction given in executive session to retain Gross Law Office to conduct an independent investigation related to a personnel complaint, authorize the execution of the engagement agreement at $250 an hour plus expenses, if any, and approve the payment of the invoices submitted pursuant to that agreement, subject to the review and approval under our regular bill payment procedures. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Just verify, I thought it said $225 an hour plus costs. It's $250.
Do you want to see it again?
Yeah.
Text.
Yeah, they charge in 6-minute increments.
Easy, Michael. Easy. Go easy.
Hey, it's like in your road.
So my concerns are the following. There's no time frame on here of an estimate of hours. The engagement letter was a couple days ago. There's also no information on here regarding any kind of reporting that's going to be provided to us. It just talks about open communication, but nothing regarding what
I thought it did say something about a report in there.
it said about documents being retained for 5 years, but I don't see anything where it says it's going to provide us documents.
You have to pass it back to me. I have to look at it.
But
I spoke with Abby. She is hopefully finishing up this week. She will prepare a report and she will meet with the commissioners in executive session to discuss her findings.
I have some questions, but I probably can't ask them out here. I have some further questions about that, but I can't discuss it here.
Would you
So
like to break into
no, it has nothing to do with me actually approving or denying whether we're going to engage in that letter or not. I just have some further questions about this situation.
Okay. Any public comment? Jim?
What are you investigating?
We had a personnel complaint and we had to hire an investigator.
Okay.
That's all we can say.
All right, fair enough.
Any other public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I'm going to make a motion to table. I don't even know if we need to personnel issue on here. Do I need to table that?
Yeah, it's part of your agenda. I would
Okay.
move to table the personnel issue set forth in the agenda for tonight's meeting.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, which needs to be very limited? Any public comment?
I don't think there's public comment on the table, is there?
Oh, you're right. You're right. Thank you, Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We're on to our individual reports. Is there anything on the solar field, John?
No, there's nothing new. We are going to resume our inspections the end of this week because of the snow melt. And then we got notification that the Conservation District is going to pick up their bi-weekly inspections also. So moving forward, we'll start inspecting again.
Okay.
But that's all I have to report. Nothing that I'm aware of happened in the last 2 weeks.
Okay. I also, Leo, if you could look into the exemption of leaf recycling and what he had said about the grant and our non-compliance. I don't understand that. And we are exempt, so I'm not sure how long that grant is going to hold us up.
Yeah, I will check. My impression was that prior boards used grant money to purchase equipment which meant that we would have to then require, or we'd have to comply with the requirements because we took the grant money. So yeah, I'll check those issues. To answer your question, I'll check those issues.
I'll look up that grant information to see what that was. Yep. And Jared, for our next meeting, can you add approval of our agenda policy, approval of the minutes policy, and we'll put on the social media policy, but we haven't gotten them back. They're tweaking them. We haven't gotten them back yet, so.
Yep, we'll have them on for the March 2nd agenda.
And then I just want to, on the blasting, it's getting kind of crazy. What exactly can we do? And I mean, to me, it's almost like an emergency with people saying the walls are shaking, things are falling off the walls, things are breaking.
Yeah, my
How far
question
does
is,
it go?
as we wait, I want to see the data from the seismographs to make sure everything is within normal ranges. And so is there anything you can do in the meantime? And if not, how long do they have to respond to those residents' requests for the data or the state's request through the residents?
I know Representative Madden was present this evening, and I know she spoke with Cheryl. Hopefully she can get the DEP to answer some of those questions. The answer is, Matt, if the township wants to insert itself into this situation, because it's really DEP regulated, before we took any steps, we'd have to hire the appropriate experts to go out and investigate to determine exactly what the situation is from an expert standpoint. The first question, if the township were to go to court, the first question any judge would ask would be, Mr. DeVito, what proof do you have that, in fact, the items that you're complaining about were in fact caused by the blasting activities on Core 5?
Well, that's why I want to see the data from the seismographs. So, I mean, is there anything you can do while we're waiting for that besides just investigating? I guess, like a cease and desist comes to mind or something like that. To say until we verify that everything is appropriate and within normal ranges and normal,
To me, that would be a big push on DEP.
Okay.
DEP has the equipment, they have the information, they're schooled in that. To me, that would be a really big push on DEP through not only Representative Madden, but your state senator. I would use any political means I could to get DEP to pay attention to this situation.
Okay, that's disappointing, but thank you.
Well, again, the problem is, yes, we can issue a cease and desist. We don't really have the authority to do that because we don't regulate blasting. Anything that we do would be challenged because obviously what they're going to say is none of what occurred was caused by us. The burden would be with us to prove that in fact that was the case.
Well, if they haven't even gone out to look, how would they know?
I just want to see the data. The state can request the data that the resident needs to call the state to request the data.
Right.
So I don't know how long they have to provide that once it's requested, I guess.
So, if the state would respond and would come out to the property to investigate themselves, the residents would be way ahead of the game.
For what it's worth,
good.
No, just for what it's worth, I just sent Heath another text message tonight asking him why he hasn't gotten in touch with Cheryl. So,
And the others.
And the others, but Cheryl was the primary one. And so hopefully he'll respond to me tomorrow. And if I get a response, I will circulate it.
Thank you. Thank you. So we can do a cease and desist. It's just a matter, it might not hold.
You can issue it. It's not going to be enforceable.
I don't know how anybody else feels, but I'd be okay with that. I don't know.
Well, wouldn't they just
ignore it?
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe that would tell them we're serious. Or no.
Well, these blasting companies are licensed by the state. They know the requirements. They know who governs them. I don't know that it would have a significant impact. I really don't. I mean, certainly we can send a cease and desist letter, but I don't. It's up to the board if you want to send
Maybe
it.
we should wait and see what Maureen Madden can do, and maybe Rosemary Brown and.
Well, also,
Well, I think the full court press needs to be put on the political representatives. They have, I mean, my local state senator Boscola, she has a PennDOT liaison, she has a DEP liaison. You make a phone call and, they get on the horn right away and get the action.
You want to say something, Natasha?
I was just gonna say that regardless of what everyone says, as far as the representatives and stuff, I don't think a cease and desist letter would hurt. Even if it doesn't mean anything, it's still in writing saying, hey, we're trying to help our tax-paying residents who are being affected by this. Again, it may not stand up, but at least we're trying. So I think that we should just send one.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Doing something's better than doing nothing.
Correct. Regardless,
Do we need to vote on that, Leo, or can?
No, you can just, no.
Okay, just a direct.
Yeah, that's a directive.
Okay, if you would do that. Cheryl, you had something to say? Yes, please.
He sent me.
And we do have a comment online after that.
Cheryl Parks. I just wanted to say, I mean, this might be considered anecdotal, but when you guys came out last week, so you saw the whole stuff on my dormer, they blasted on Friday. And about 45 minutes after they blasted, every bit of that came down. And I had just had the insurance adjuster there who told me not to go on my deck, which is a good thing I didn't. So then today, now I've still got these blocks of ice that are like 30 by 30 or bigger. They're probably 60, 70 pounds. And then after they blasted today, of course, it got warmer. And then all those came down. And the same, like with the seismic stuff, I mean, they're only like 200 yards away from my house. So whatever they're saying that they're doing seismically, I think I don't know, it probably gets into law and all this other crap, but there's other variables with that. If I'm sitting on that same bedrock and there's cracks in there, or there's faults in that, it could be one thing where they're blasted and a totally different thing where I am. So just wanted to kind of give everybody what happened. Oh, and then Friday, then we had that whole big blast of dirt or grit or whatever that was. So I have no idea what that was, but I just wanted to make it clear the time frame.
Thank you. You said someone's online, Jared?
Online comment? Josh Knapp?
Yeah, if I may, again, the people on on Wellington Road and Staten Road have relayed to me that they have felt the shake. They felt their houses shake, and I'm just wondering if they're doing everything right up there. I think that you guys need to really pay attention to it. It sounds like you are. So, but I wanted you to know that a half a mile away, people are complaining that the foundation is shaking in their house.
Thank you. Matt?
Thank you. Very quickly, I don't care what anybody says on social media. I support the First Amendment, but there was an elected official recently who made multiple claims about myself specifically as a commissioner, in my duties as a commissioner, and they were false. I got many comments, messages on Facebook, people who were mad at me for things that weren't true. So I very quickly just want to read what was posted and then respond to it, and that will be the end of it. Representative Madden, who was here, she left. I was hoping maybe she would address this and apologize, but she left, which is fine. But she said Pocono Township voted to declare itself a sanctuary city. A sanctuary city is a municipality that does not comply with federal law enforcement in terms of immigration. We, of course, did not do that. We did not declare ourselves a sanctuary city. That was the full sentence to start off her post. It's completely false. What we did do is declare ourselves a Second Amendment sanctuary, There wasn't even a resolution or an ordinance. There was nothing legally binding about it. There was no cost to the taxpayer. And Maureen Madden herself commented during the meeting when we were discussing that. So whether she misspoke or was intentionally trying to stir the pot, I don't know. But it was false. And I wanted to clarify that. She went on to say, Commissioner Matt Long cast the deciding yes vote. Democrats who wrote in MAGA Matt during the primary and supported him in the general election, was this yes vote on your bingo card? Pay attention. From what I'm hearing, this is just the beginning. Tax hikes may be next. The budget we just passed as a board lowered the tax burden on everybody in Pocono Township. We did slightly raise the fire tax millage rate because our fire department needs it and it's important, and the whole board agreed on that, I believe. But we reduced the property tax millage rate 10%. So overall, everybody's getting a tax reduction. So I think it's important to clarify that. People were mad that I was raising their taxes after campaigning on tax cuts. People were mad that, I supported declaring Pocono Township a sanctuary city. Both of those things are true. From what I understand, I think Representative Madden pulled down her post. I can't confirm that. I hope that's true. She's blocked me on social media, so I don't know if that's true. The original post was sent to me by multiple people. So hopefully she did take that down. And I would just ask her to formally retract those comments, clarify the record, and apologize to the board, to myself, and the Pocono Township. That's all I have on that. The next thing, the amusement tax update. I've already kind of addressed this at multiple times in this meeting. We did have a meeting with Camelback and Great Wolf. They asked to postpone that. The meeting is now going to be Monday on the 23rd. So I will update everybody once we actually have that meeting. I also just wanted to say, this isn't on my agenda, but the environmental council that the board has moved forward with, I believe that's been advertised, and we will be able to take action on that next meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So next meeting, we'll be able to adopt the ordinance forming an environmental council, which I'm very enthusiastic about. I think a lot of people are. And we'll be able to post those positions. It'll be 5 positions for anybody in the township, and then there's going to be 1 seat ideally held by a planning commission member and 1 seat ideally held by a board of commissioner member. So we will move forward with that in the next meeting. And then the data center ordinance, also very quickly, that's advertised, and I believe we can move forward with that in April. Jared, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to update everybody on that because we've been taking steps every meeting, but we're meeting the advertisement requirements on both of those things, and we're moving as quickly as we can on both of them. That's all I got. Thank you.
Natasha? Mike?
Thank you. Statements expressed by individual board members are their own and do not necessarily represent the official position of the board nor myself. Cue the eye rolling and groans. In order to ensure fair statewide elections, Pennsylvanians should reach out to their, I know, Jim, I know you're laughing. Pennsylvanians should reach out to their state representatives and encourage them to bring up an electoral college system for Pennsylvania so that Philadelphia and Pittsburgh don't decide who our governor is. It would also behoove everyone to check out termlimits.com. Termlimits.com has a pledge that you can sign, and you can encourage your state representatives to also go to this website. And termlimits.com is trying to get 4 more states. We have 34 states. We need 38 states so that we can have a modification, an amendment to our U.S. Constitution, limiting the terms of the Senate and the Congress. And that's something everybody should check out, termlimits.com. And one last thing, Abraham Lincoln said, folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be.
Thank you, Mike. Charles?
All right, we already had the discussion on the public option for trash with Mike Stetler. That was informative. Anybody who was watching online who joined late, I would encourage you to go back. It was right at the beginning of the meeting. A lot of interesting information there. So we'll just proceed right to my discussion on the park board. I just had a few questions because I know residents were concerned, about the new environmental advisory council. These boards operating, not transparently. So I started doing some digging to find out, what other boards the township has, and I found that we appointed this park board back at the end of 2024. I wasn't able to find any reference to them online on the township website. I wasn't able to find any minutes posted or meeting schedules. So I just wanted to see if we could get some clarity on that. Have they been meeting regularly, and have they been?
So Jen Gambino runs the park board. She will be here at the next meeting. So I just had her plan on reporting that out to you at the next meeting.
Okay, that would be great. Just out of curiosity, do the people on the parks board, do they have fobs for the building?
They do not.
They don't have fobs? Okay. And you weren't able, I know I asked you, you weren't able to get me any minutes from any of the recent meetings?
I don't have any recent ones. I do have some from the end of 2024.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I just want whatever we have, because I know you had said that our parks manager had taken on some of those responsibilities that the park board was handling. My concern was just that on the website, the only reference I was able to find to the park board is that they decide what events we have, like they accept submissions from the public, and then they decide what events we end up having. And I just want to make sure that that process is transparent, because if they are making those sorts of decisions, those are the sorts of decisions that should be made in a public meeting and, should be on minutes somewhere. And especially moving forward, I think if we do have a park board, we've been talking a lot about, the events we're going to be holding in the coming year. I want to make sure that they're, having their input on it. If we appointed them, I want to make sure that they're doing what they, are supposed to be doing.
My understanding is they have not met, they meant to tour the parks, and as far as I know, that's it, but we'll let Jen comment on that next meeting.
Also, I believe it's an advisory board. They don't make decisions.
Well, no, but they provide recommendations. Yeah. And I do think that they on the website it said that they do. I don't know if it says that they recommend or that they they decide which ones we're going to proceed with the events. I don't remember the exact language, but I can take a look and find that.
I think it's only recommendations.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Actually, no, I did have one more thing. Jared, somebody from the Aliver company sent us an email, all the commissioners, but I don't think you were on it. They want to donate a AED system for TLC Park. I'll forward that email to you. I don't know if anybody else mentioned it to you, but it's definitely something that, if it's free, I know we have a splash pad there now, so I definitely like to see an AED put in at the park. And if this company is willing to give it to us for free, by all means. So I'll forward that along to you.
Thank you. We have two of them in Mountain View Park, but you're right, we don't have any at TLC.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul?
So this month we had 16 permits issued, 4 zoning. There was 2 new constructions of single-family homes, 5 building permits, 4 certificate of occupancies, 2 driveways, 2 TDUs went out, 2 wells, and 1 grading permit. Enforcements, we had 3 TDU NOVs that were issued for renting without licensing, some of which were in unpermitted zoning districts. Following up on lot 12 Wilderness Trail, we haven't heard any response yet. We're waiting for that 30-day period. There are no violations closed this period. We do have a civil hearing coming up, 175 Laurel Lake Road, the 19th. That's in the Court of Common Pleas. We had, since the last meeting, 1 public hearing that was for 2351 Route 715. That was an appeal of the zoning determination and request for variance. There was no appeal for the zoning office determination, but they were granted variances. That was for big time basketball on 715, their home occupation. And we're still waiting on 383 Babbling Brook Road. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Okay.
Chief? Yes, thank you. Earlier today, I sent out the monthly stats for January. I'll just summarize those stats here tonight. We had 1,176 calls for service, 22 criminal arrests were made, 8 summary arrests were made, and this shocked me, 64 traffic accidents this month. I think the majority of those were snow related. And the majority were, vehicles being stuck, but they get tabulated as accidents. So that was excessive to see. And 332 traffic contacts the patrol officers made for the month. So
I'm busy.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Anybody have anything for the chief? Is the fire department going to speak?
They go quarterly.
Oh. Jared?
Thank you, Madam President. Alan, had mentioned the PFM. They were not able to be here tonight due to a different township requirement. They will be here at our next meeting. And that is the results of that full sewer study that the Board of Commissioners had authorized, and the rate study and the reduction rates that we talked about for 2027 and 2029. Just about 2 weeks ago, we had released a report from Monroe County Vector Control. We posted on our website as well. One of the big pushes that you hear us talk about a lot is the sewer extension for MCTI, which would also come up Martian Court, which is the trailer park. They have a sewer treatment plant that's about 70 years old. And year after year, the only West Nile that's being picked up is here in Pocono Township. So we did post this on our website and our Facebook, and it has some best practices in there. This is one of the reasons that the county and the Conservation District has also streamlined permits for this, but this is of the largest priority. There has been large larvae found year over year over at Pocono Laura Lake. So I know those homeowners are very close to one another, and also at Martian Court. So if you know anyone who lives there, I would take heed with any kind of mosquitoes, any kind of standing water, water in tires, any kind of lawn furniture, anything like that. 4-5 blasting schedule, as mentioned, they did give us the schedule for the rest of the month. Sometimes they have issues getting explosives that day and or weather related. So when they do, switch it from their Tuesday and Thursday, standing from 10 to 2, if they move it to a Friday, we do our best to get it out to the email blast list. If you guys know of anyone else on that road who would request it, it is marked on Savvy Citizen as well. But we'll be glad to get that into the email blast. And finally, we have talked about this a while ago, but we have partnered up with Rotary. They are here on Tuesday and Thursdays offering free tax services returns for our seniors and veterans. So we will have we'll pin it up to the top of our webpage, but we just want to thank the Rotary for what they do.
Do you know what age the senior is?
I will find that out.
Just so that's on the website so they know.
Sure.
It's a little different.
And that's all I have, Madam President.
Can we post that on Facebook?
Sure.
The police wing, are we still waiting on stuff?
We are. We are, as Pat described it very well, if you want to do that again for the camera. We're close, but they have missed every deadline that we've given them. It did require some additional structural engineers to come out, and then the low voltage study has been completed, but we're just waiting on the final MEP diagrams. They had provided us the floor plans, but we can't go out for bid until we receive all the documents. So they are saying by the end of this week, we will have them. I just sent another email out earlier today, and they did assure us that we'll have it by the end of the week, but this wouldn't be the first deadline they missed. But I did escalate it up to that architect's boss, the owner of the architectural firm.
Does anybody have anything else for Jared?
Thank you, Madam President. Few items to go over. Just wanted to let everybody know that if and when winter ends, possibly June, because I've seen the most recent 10-day forecast, which I urge everybody to look at. We did get more salt, though. We're completely stocked with salt and cinders, so we're in good shape there. Just put that at ease. But when winter ends, we will be taking a township-wide sign rehab project. I know there's so many signs that are been pushed over from plowing and cars running into them and just a general cleanup. So I talked to my road foreman, and we're all in agreement that once the weather gets better, we're going to be undertaking that. I think it's going to make the roads look better, the township signs. Coast Streams update. I think I reported to the board last time that they had completed the phase 1. We had another regular meeting, and so far my operator, my engineer Mike, and myself, we're all very satisfied with the results and with the company. The program is working well, and we're going to continue to monitor, I think, the way we discussed initially with the board, this phase 1 period. And then in a short while, if we're continuing to see the same kind of results and we're pleased with the way it's working, I'll bring to the board the phase 2. It was in the original package, recall, but I just requested phase 1 for now until we buy it or vet it. And so far, so good. Force main inspection and cleaning update. I've met with 2 different contractors. I've talked with another expert from T&M, John. Thanks, Nicholas, from your firm, has got a lot of experience in this. So we're making progress there, and I hope maybe by next month to have some recommendations to the board as to how to pursue that. Recall that's a costly endeavor, and I want to make sure we really nail that before we move forward with anything. PFM presentation, Jared had mentioned, they're scheduled for next meeting. Fog ordinance discussion. Recall that's something I've been working on. Lisa from Leo's office has been very helpful. I have the final draft. I actually emailed it to the board this afternoon, so you have some time to look at it. If you want a hard copy, let me know. I'll get you a hard copy. But I'm hopeful if I get comments in proper time to vet that next board meeting, I'll put that on the agenda for the board to consider. It's important. And then finally, believe it or not, we're only 6 weeks away from park season opening. It's kind of hard to believe, but yeah. So I got an ad together today, and we're going to start seeking candidates to staff those positions. We've already gotten some. I've been checking my email. We've already gotten some good candidates that have expressed interest. So looking forward to park season.
So the people that were here last year, are they coming back?
They'll be offered that opportunity for sure. We had a really nice group last year. So, but it's nice to see people interested in coming to work at Pocono Township. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have one for you, Pat.
Sure.
I know you mentioned signs and stuff. Does the township have a program to reimburse for damaged mailboxes, or the county or the state, out of curiosity?
So I can't speak for the county or the state, but the township's policy is when we receive a report for a damaged mailbox, we'll go out and inspect. If the damage was caused by the plow striking the mailbox, the township will replace the mailbox. Unfortunately, in 90+% of the cases, it's the weight of the heavy snow that comes off the plow that hits the mailbox and either pushes it over or knocks it off. And we do our best to try to explain that to frustrated homeowners. Most are understanding. You know, we've even gone out and taken photos. I've had many conversations with people. It's something we try to avoid, but in the bigger storms, particularly when it's wet, heavy snow, if you think about the force of that wet snow coming off the plow, even a plow going 15 miles an hour, it's pretty incredible. So, no, in those cases, we do not pay for the replacement of the mailbox. If they're senior folks, we've gone and put the mailbox back up for them. We try to help, but we don't replace the mailbox unless we physically strike the mailbox and damage it. That's the policy that existed before I came to the township.
And Jared, do we have like a resolution outlining that, or is it like noted on the website anywhere, that policy?
It's not, I mean, we have an old resolution to it. I don't think we have anything on the website. We could add something.
Well, if you could find the old resolution and send it over to me, I'd love to take a look at it. Maybe we want to consider updating it to include, those instances where it is, damaged by snow being thrown off, at high velocity, because, that doesn't necessarily seem fair. That people get their mailboxes damaged and then, picking up the cost of it. I don't know. It might be something worth looking at, is what I'm saying.
I think generally all townships have that same rule.
Yeah.
Or you'll be paying for everybody's.
And it goes up and down.
Again, I think it's worth taking a look at. If you can send me the old resolution, I'd love to take a look at it and, and see, maybe we can talk about it a little more in the future, but I'd love to see what we've got on the books. And then maybe if it's not, written down in a resolution, we want to get it written down just so that we have outlined exactly what our policy is, for, so it's easily accessible to the residents.
Policy should be to build a good mailbox.
Well, a lot of times what you hear is, my mailbox has been good for 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, that post is rotted within those 30
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting. We've got complaints as much as we've damaged the pink flamingo in the front yard.
Oh,
It's been sitting out there, and they want us to replace it too. So
It flopped.
We do our best to try to explain situations to, like, for example, the last big heavy snowfall, there was already snow on the ground. And I tell the guys, make sure we're setting the shoulders back, because we knew it was going to be cold. Snow is not going to melt. And if you don't get the shoulders back, there's no place to put subsequent snowfalls. Now we're getting into the spring, it's a little different, but during the meat of the winter, when you start to get a snowpack, it's important to keep your road wet. Problem dealing with plowing snow, but we try to communicate to the residents and satisfy them when we can.
Yeah, and I don't think that, I think you guys are doing the best job you can. I mean, especially with the amount of snow we saw this winter. My concern is just trying to reduce that friction with the residents, because I want to make sure that they don't feel like they're getting I just want to make sure we're addressing this fairly and we have a policy that's clearly outlined so people understand what it is. Thank you.
Okay. John?
Thank you, Madam President. I don't have too much. We've talked about the sewer, Warren Road roundabout, contractors are getting us the paperwork. TASA, we're just continuing to move forward. As I said last meeting, we've got over the hump with PennDOT on their comments. And the walking bridge, we talked about tonight already. So that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Just on your cost update for the roundabout, is there an update, or it's the bid is the bid?
The bid is the bid.
Okay. Anybody have anything for John? Leo?
Thank you, Madam President. We talked about the sewer business, nothing really to update at this point. Pocono Manor, we talked about. General legal update, got notice today that the Archer Lane trial has been set for the trial term of March 17. Also received an email today from Archer, the estate of Archer's attorney, Brett Regal, that he is unavailable for the pretrial and will be seeking a continuance of that matter. And then John just touched on the Learn Road easement process. Other than that, we're calm in court at this point, but busy helping the board affect his business.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Natasha, did you need an executive session?
Just a quick one, please.
Then I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn
Second.
into executive session and we will not return.
Will we ever return?
Second.